Chapter 727. Pill Cavern Key Chapter 727. Pill Cavern. I'll see who dares to leave. Seeing that the elders wanted to leave the forbidden area, Mufone immediately shouted, "This is a moment of life and death for Donwu College. If anyone dares to leave, don't blame me for being impolite." Shua. The elders originally planned to leave, but after hearing Mu Feng shout, they could only stay where they were. Chang Wei and Chang Kuan were already killed, and now Mu Feng was the strongest person in Donwu College. Of course, he was the strongest person apart from Ningyu. These elders' roots were in Donwu College, so leaving now was indeed the most unwise choice. Ha! At this moment, not far away, Ningyu and Ling Han's palms touched. The two palms collided with a muffled sound. Poochie! Then, Ningyu felt a sweetness in his throat, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. "Ningyu, I thought you'd have some trump card if you took the initiative to exchange palms with me. So it's the same silver spear and wax head. Pretty, but useless." Seeing Ningyu's miserable state, Ling Han laughed sinisterly. "Is that so?" Ningyu used his other hand to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth and revealed a sinister smile. For some reason, seeing Ningyu smile, Ling Han's heart skipped a beat, and he faintly felt that something was wrong. Pretentious. Although he was a little worried, Ling Han didn't show it. He said coldly, "Since you refuse to come to your senses, I've decided to tear you into pieces." As soon as the word pieces fell, Ling Han's wrist suddenly exerted force, and an extremely powerful wave of origin chi gushed out from his palm and entered Ningyu's palm. Pu. Whenever origin chi entered Ningyu's palm, Ningyu would spit out a mouthful of blood. In a short few seconds, a total of 12 waves of origin chi gushed out from Ling Han's palm. In other words, Ningyu spat out a total of 12 mouthfuls of blood. Fortunately, Ningyu's physique wasn't weak, or else the 12 mouthfuls of blood would be enough to weaken him. Is that enough? As if the 12 mouthfuls of blood on the ground did not belong to Ningyu, Ningyu still let out a chilling voice. "Not enough. No, you?" Ling Han stopped subconsciously when he heard Ningyu's words. However, Ling Han quickly came to his senses. He raised his head and looked at the ferocious Ningyu. His pupils constricted and his face was filled with disbelief. "It's my turn now." Ningyu took a deep breath and exerted some force in his palm. Shio! In the next instant, a small branch shot out from Ningyu's sleeves and charged toward Ling Han's palm at an astonishing speed. The branch was plain and ordinary. The only difference was that there was a flower bud at its end. Whoosh! The speed of the tree branch was extremely fast. Before Ling Han could even react, the tree branch had already burrowed into his wrist. Then it continued to advance, and in 0.01 seconds, it had arrived at his shoulder. Damn it! Ling Han had not thought that Ningyu would have such a trump card. He hurriedly struggled out of Ningyu's palm and channeled a technique to force the tree branch out of his body. Ling Han, to tell you the truth, the tree branch in your body is a branch of the world tree. With your cultivation level, it is impossible for you to force it out. Ningyu chuckled bitterly and sent a voice transmission to Ling Han. "You should just obediently enjoy it. It won't be long before you become a skeleton like Ling Hu." A branch of the world tree. When he heard that the tree branch in his body was a branch of the world tree, Ling Han's pupils constricted and an expression of despair appeared on his face. He was not afraid of the branch of the world tree. What he was most afraid of was the branch blossoming. He could feel a powerful devouring power surging out from the flower bud and rampaging through his body. Ningyu was right. If he did not do something, he would definitely be sucked dry before long. Abandon my arm. In the blink of an eye, Ling Han made a decision. Sever his arm. By the looks of it now, this was the only method that could save Ling Han's life. Everything else was useless. "You want to abandon your arm? How could it be so simple?" A smile spread across Ningyu's face, and he said loudly, "Red Demon, if you don't act now, when will you?" In fact, when he heard Ningyu's words, Ling Han had already realized the severity of the problem. However, he still had a sliver of hope, and so he still used his full strength to sever his right arm. Pooh! Ling Han had just severed his right arm when a red figure darted out from his chest, landing in front of him in the blink of an eye. Ling Han looked at the red figure in front of him and stretched out a hand to point. He wanted to say something, yet he felt a sharp pain from his heart. Ling Han lowered his head to look at the fist-sized hole in his chest, his expression filled with terror. What Ling Han was afraid of was yet to come. The branch of the world tree that had entered his body through his wrist had already taken root in his stomach. That flower bud continued to absorb nutrients from his body, and in a short minute, it had already doubled in size, looking like it was about to bloom. Ling Han definitely wouldn't allow the flower bud to bloom on his body. He stretched out his left hand and forcefully grabbed the flower bud, wanting to pull it off. Pooh! However, Ling Han's hand had just grabbed the flower bud when his eyes rolled back, and his body directly fell backward. When Ling Han's body fell backward, everyone could clearly see that his originally full body gradually became thin and weak. From the time he fell backward to the time he landed on the ground, it was a distance of 90 degrees. It was as if he had been hollowed out, and only his skeleton was left. Shua. If Ning Yu killing the black-robe martial artist could be said to be a coincidence, killing Chong Kun could be said to be luck, and killing Ling, who could be said to be a blind guess, then now that he had killed Ling Han, it was enough to prove his strength. In less than an hour's time, Ning Yu had killed a total of 2 middle-stage creation tier cultivators, as well as 2 early-stage creation tier cultivators. From now on, this magnificent feat would probably never be accomplished by a martial artist in the early stage of Yin-Yang tier. Ning Yu didn't care about the strange expressions of the people around him. He first put the branch of the world tree into his storage ring, and then walked straight towards Mu Feng. After a while, Ning Yu came to Mu Feng's side and said, "Dean Mu, Chong Kun colluded with martial artists from the Blood God Palace. I'm afraid the entire Danwu College needs to be thoroughly investigated. Don't worry, this time, there definitely won't be a fish that escapes the net," Mu Feng said in a low voice. "Right, Ning Yu, I'll give this to you." Seeing that Ning Yu was about to leave, Mu Feng flicked his wrist, and instantly, a cold light flew out. "Ha!" Ning Yu firmly caught it in his hand, opened his palm, and looked at it. He was puzzled, and said, "A medicine key? Dinmu, this is the medicine key to enter the pill cave," Mu Feng said with a smile. "It's too expensive. I can't take it," Ning Yu said hurriedly, and was about to return the medicine key to Mu Feng. "If I give it to you, just take it. If it weren't for you today, Danwu College would definitely fall into the hands of the Blood God Palace. At that time, who knows how many people would suffer," Mu Feng said. Chapter 728. Swoosh. Swoosh. Mu Feng did not purposely lower his voice, so the surrounding elders could clearly hear his words. This caused a huge uproar in the surroundings. The reason why Mu Feng could become the ruler of Danwu College was because his cultivation had reached the early stage of manifestation realm. On the other hand, it was because he held the key to enter the Pill Cave. The Pill Cave was the foundation of Danwu College. Generally speaking, the Pill Cave had 2 uses. First, it increased the chances of a peak Yin-Yang realm martial artist advancing to the half-step manifestation realm. Second, it allowed an early-stage Grade 8 alchemist to have a high chance of becoming a middle-stage Grade 8 alchemist. Either one of these 2 uses was enough for Mu Feng to enjoy supreme glory in Danwu College. "Dean Mu, I'm afraid this is not appropriate." Although the surrounding elders were shocked, no one came out to oppose Mu Feng. On the contrary, the first elder to oppose Mu Feng was Old Ancestor Jiao. Old Ancestor Jiao's expression was solemn as he lowered his voice. "Ning Yu is only at the early stage of Yin-Yang realm. If he holds the Pill Cave key, I'm afraid there's no need to say any more. Everyone has seen Ning Yu's strength. It's safest to place the key in his hands." Mu Feng waved his hand, interrupting Old Ancestor Jiao's words. "Moreover, if anyone dares to speak of this matter, don't blame me for being impolite." After saying this, Mu Feng's eyes slowly swept across the surrounding martial artists, extremely cold. Mu Feng's meaning was very clear. Whoever dared to oppose Ning Yu was opposing him. Ning Yu, if I give you the key, just take it. Don't be like a girl and try to make things difficult. Mu Feng said to Ning Yu in a clear voice while secretly sending a soul message. Among these elders, there must be remnants of Chong Kuen's faction. I want to use you as bait to lure them out. As expected. In fact, when Mu Feng said that he wanted to give the key to Ning Yu had already guessed this possibility. Otherwise, even if he was the greatest contributor to Danwu College, he would not have the right to keep the key to the pill cave. Rest assured, I know what to do. Ning Yu nodded slightly before placing the key into his storage ring. All elders, leave the forbidden area. After waiting for Ning Yu's confirmation, Mu Feng's voice contained some yuan qi as he loudly said, "No one is allowed to speak of what happened in the forbidden area. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences." Buzz. All the elders were waiting for Mu Feng to say this. When Mu Feng's words fell, many elders scattered in an uproar. They tore through the void and left the forbidden area. Almost in an instant, the originally noisy forbidden area instantly quieted down. Ning Yu, let's go to the pill cavern. The silence did not last for too long. Mu Feng continued, if you stay inside for a day or two, both your cultivation and soul power will increase by at least 1 level. Dean Mu, can you let the silver-winged dragon and the others enter the pill cavern as well? With such a good thing, Ning Yu did not forget about the silver-winged dragon and the others who fought alongside him. No, it should be the beasts. It's fine. I said that whoever can enter the pill cavern is up to you. I naturally will not go back on my words. Mu Feng smiled. If that's the case, thank you, Dean Mu. Let's go first. I'm afraid the silver-winged dragon and the others will not last long. Since they could enter the pill cavern, Ning Yu would not foolishly waste time here. The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were not lightly injured. Even the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball in the storage ring were heavily injured. If he wanted them to recover as soon as possible, he could only enter the pill cavern. Ning Yu, that. Before Ning Yu could take a few steps, a familiar voice rang in his ear. Sha Sha. Hearing this, Ning Yu stopped and looked back. Oh Yanglin, you also have a right to enter the pill cavern. I treat my own people equally. Ning Yu thought that Ouyang Luan had stopped him because he wanted to enter the pill cavern. However, Ouyang Luan's next words made Ning Yu a little angry. I also want to enter the pill cavern, but I stopped you not because of entering the pill cavern, but because that mysterious martial artist from the Imperial family contacted me and asked me to return to the Imperial family as soon as possible. Ouyang Luan said awkwardly. F***CK. You're wasting my time on such a trivial matter? Ning Yu's expression was cold, and he even cursed. Tell that mysterious martial artist to wait. We can only return to the Imperial family when we leave the pill cavern. All right. Ouyang Luan still had a lot of things he wanted to say, but after hearing Ning Yu's voice and seeing Ning Yu's expression, he forcefully swallowed the words at the tip of his mouth. Let's go. Since Ouyang Luan understood the situation, Ning Yu no longer paid attention to him. Instead, he let out a low shout and disappeared behind Mu Feng. The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were very sensible. Since Ning Yu had left, they definitely wouldn't stay behind. Moreover, Mu Feng had also said that the pill cavern could at least raise Ning Yu's cultivation by 1 level. Staying behind for such a good thing would be a fool. It's a waste not to go. Seeing the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast disappear, Ouyang Lin muttered to himself. He also tore through the void and disappeared. Old Ancestor Jiu Mo pondered for a second before his figure flickered and he left the forbidden area. The reason why Old Ancestor Jiu Mo didn't enter the pill cavern with Ning Yu and the others was that the current Danwu College was a mess that he needed to deal with. If he couldn't take charge of the overall situation at this time, the consequences would be unimaginable. Swoosh. At this time, in a certain hall of the Imperial family, the void in the main hall suddenly split open, and a few figures quickly appeared. The leading martial artist quickly made his way to the main seat of the hall with a furious look on his face. If Ning Yu was here, he would definitely recognize that this martial artist was none other than the emperor of the Xia Kingdom, Ouyang Ba. After Danwu College had dealt with the experts of the Corpsine sect, Ouyang Ba left Ouyang Lun alone and returned to the imperial family with a few half-step manifestation realm martial artists. Crack! Ouyang Ba slammed his palm on the chair he was sitting on, causing the chair made of 1,000 years sandalwood to shatter into pieces. Oomph! Ningyu's gone too far. He has no respect for the imperial family at all. Ouyang Ba's chest heaved up and down as he said angrily, "Your Majesty, you don't have to be so angry." Seeing that Ouyang Ba was enraged, a half-step manifestation realm martial artist in the hall immediately said, "Everyone has a weakness. I believe Ning Yu has a weakness too. As long as we can find out Ning Yu's weakness, we'll definitely make him submit to us." Ouyang Tung, what do you think is Ning Yu's weakness? Ouyang Ba raised his eyebrows and asked in a deep voice. In this mainland, most people's weaknesses are their family members. Ouyang Tung's lips curled upward as he said, with an evil smile, "Fine, I'll leave this matter to you. I'll give you 1 day's time. After 1 day, I must see Ning Yu's parents no matter what." Ouyang Ba said coldly, "Don't worry, Your Majesty. I promise to complete the task." Ouyang Tung said in a sinister tone. Chapter 729. Potential threat. Very well, go now. Don't let me down. Ouyang Ba waved his hand, signaling Ouyang Tung to leave. "Don't worry about me." Ouyang Tung patted his chest, and then his figure flashed out of the hall. Thump! Thump! After Ouyang Tung left, Ouyang Ba raised his heel and stomped on the ground rhythmically. Ouyang Ba had long known that Ningyu was a tough nut to crack. After all, he had set up a few traps to make things difficult for Ningyu, but Ningyu had resolved all of them. "Let's see how you're going to act so arrogantly against me once Ouyang Tung brings your parents back." This time, Ouyang Ba did not think that Ningyu would be able to resolve the situation. Of course, that was unless Ningyu did not care about his parents' safety. After all, humans could not threaten beasts with humans. However, just as Ouyang Ba was thinking about how to threaten Ningyu's parents with Ningyu, a dull thud was heard coming from the entrance of the hall. Bang! Following this, a figure flew into the hall and landed heavily on the ground. Ouyang Tung. Ouyang Ba's expression turned cold as he stared at the familiar figure on the ground and snapped. "Who injured you like this?" Ouyang Tung's aura was extremely weak at that moment, and he even had a few broken bones. Ouyang Tung was a half-formable realm martial artist, ranked top 5 among the royal family experts. One could imagine how strong the enemy was if he was injured to this extent. "I'm the one who injured him." Ouyang Tung was about to answer when a voice was heard coming from outside the hall. Ouyang Tung's face was filled with terror after hearing the voice. He immediately shut his mouth and did not dare to breathe too loudly. A mysterious martial artist. Ouyang Ba stared at the skinny figure entering the hall and said in a cold voice, "What are you doing here? Didn't the ancestor arrange a place for you?" "Ancestor? You must be referring to that useless Ouyang Lun. To be honest, I'm here to look for him." The skinny cultivator curled his lips and stretched out 3 fingers. "I won't say anything unnecessary. I'll give you 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, I want to see Ouyang Lun otherwise." At this point, the skinny cultivator's gaze swept across the few people in the hall, and he continued, "For every minute that passes, I will destroy 1 person's cultivation." Arrogant. The skinny martial artist's arrogant words angered a half-step manifestation realm expert from the royal family. Without waiting for Ouyang Ba's reply, the half-martial manifestation realm expert tore the space apart and appeared next to the skinny cultivator. The half-step manifestation realm powerhouse threw out a punch, bringing with it a gust of primordial chi wind as it ruthlessly smashed towards the skinny martial artist's head. The half-step manifestation realm powerhouse seemed to have seen the tragic scene of the martial artist's brain exploding. His lips even curled up into an evil smile. However, the half-step manifestation realm powerhouse had clearly overestimated his own strength. Before his fist could land on the skinny martial artist's head, the skinny martial artist had already disappeared. Then, a fist continued to expand in front of his eyes, and finally landed on his nose, where he could not avoid it. Ah! The immense pain coming from his nose and head caused the half-step manifestation realm martial artist to let out a blood-curdling screech like a pig being slaughtered. His body fell backward. Crack! A crisp sound was heard as the half-step manifestation realm martial artist fell to the ground. Just like Ouyang Tong, a few of his bones were broken. Gasp! If it was said that Ouyang Tong's aura was weak due to some kind of conspiracy, then the fact that this half-step manifestation realm martial artist was severely injured caused all the martial artists at the scene, including Ouyang Ba, to inhale deeply. How powerful was this skinny martial artist? To be able to severely injure a half-step manifestation realm martial artist with a single move, his true strength was probably at the early stage of the manifestation realm, or even the intermediate stage of the manifestation realm. On the surface, his cultivation base is only at the intermediate stage of the yin-yang realm, but he must be at the manifestation realm. Ouyang Ba took a deep breath and mumbled, "Why don't we calm him down first and test his strength?" As the emperor of the great Xia kingdom, Ouyang Ba was not stupid. He would not take the risk unless it was a life-and-death situation. Damn it, go to Danwu College at once. I don't care what you have to do. You must find the ancestor and bring him back. Ouyang Ba clenched his fists and yelled furiously. Yes, we'll go now. When the remaining two half-step to manifestation realm martial artists in the main hall heard Ouyang Ba's voice, they felt as if they had been pardoned from a great crime and hurriedly left. The skinny martial artist did not stop the martial artist from leaving, but said calmly, "You have 2 minutes left. 2 martial artists have just left the hall, so you'll have to bear all the torture they're going to face. Come back at once." This time, Ouyang Ba was dumbfounded as he yelled at the top of his lungs. The 2 martial artists had just escaped from the hall. How could they return so easily? Even after hearing Ouyang Ba's yell, they continued to move forward at full speed, using all their strength to leave the palace. 1 minute left. The skinny martial artist's urging voice was heard once again. Let's give it our all. Now that he had no one to rely on, Ouyang Ba had no choice but to risk his life. Buzz, buzz. In the next instant, Ouyang Ba tore the space apart and appeared next to the skinny martial artist in the blink of an eye. In order to kill the opponent with a single blow, not only did Ouyang Ba wrap his vitality around his wrist, he even wrapped his soul force around his wrist. For many years, Ouyang Ba had been pretending to be weak. His real cultivation base was not the yin-yang realm that the public had speculated, but the half-step manifestation realm. Furthermore, he had reached the peak of the half-step manifestation realm. He was only a step away from the early-stage manifestation realm. The attack he had unleashed with all his might was extremely powerful. Even an ordinary early-stage manifestation realm martial artist would not dare to take it head-on. I don't care if you're the mysterious martial artist. Since you've offended the royal family, you've offended me. I'll make you. Uffed. Ouyang Ba uttered coldly as his fist was about to land on the skinny martial artist, as if he was going to win. Dreams were plentiful, but reality was cruel. At that instant, Ouyang Ba experienced the same feeling. His fist did land on the skinny martial artist's head. However, the skinny martial artist that he had hit was not a native, but a shadow. When Ouyang Ba finally reacted, it was too late. The skinny martial artist would never let those who disobeyed his will and challenged his dignity have a good ending. Although the skinny martial artist would not go as far as to kill, it would not be a problem for him to beat Ouyang Ba until he lost control of his bowels. The skinny martial artist thought so, and did as he was told. He continued to throw a few punches, each of which landed on Ouyang Ba's head. In just a few seconds, Ouyang Ba's head was swollen like a pig's. Thump! The skinny martial artist did not want to stop after beating Ouyang Ba's head up. His goal was clear. He wanted to beat Ouyang Ba until he lost control of his bowels. Following this, the skinny martial artist raised his right leg and gave a few kicks. 3 seconds later, the skinny martial artist stopped. As for Ouyang Ba, he fell limply onto the ground, with a pool of yellow liquid flowing out from his body. Sigh, so useless. Forget it. I'll pay a visit to Danwu College myself. I like to see where Ouyang Luan got his courage from to go against my will. Chapter 730. Not the strongest, Dean Mu. Is this the Pill Cave? Ningyu had no idea what had happened to Ouyang Ba and the others. After leaving the forbidden area, Ningyu followed Mu Feng to the so-called Pill Cave. In fact, it was no wonder that Ningyu was surprised. In his knowledge, the Pill Cave should be in a cave somewhere. At the very least, it should be a cave. But now they were in a room. If there was anything different about this room, it would be that there was not a single table or chair in the room. It was extremely empty. Silver Winged Dragon and the rest were confused too. Didn't they say that the Pill Cave was a place of treasures? Didn't they say that the Pill Cave could help Ningyu improve his cultivation by a level? What the F asterisk CK? Stone Dog Tai La, hee hee, this is obviously not the Pill Cave. Seeing the reactions of Ningyu and the rest, Mu Feng smiled and stomped his right foot on the ground. Crack! As Mu Feng's right foot landed on the ground, a cracking sound was heard. Whoosh! Following that, Ningyu and the rest saw the ground suddenly sink with Mu Feng at the center. What are you waiting for? The Pill Cave is right below. The moment Mu Feng's head disappeared, a voice was heard in the room. Whoosh! 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 Hearing Mu Feng's voice, Ningyu and the rest snapped out of their daze. They immediately stomped their feet on the ground and dived into the ground from the sunken area. Creak! After Ningyu and the rest disappeared, the sunken ground closed up and everything returned to normal. Dark, very dark, very dark. The first, second, and third feeling that Ningyu had after entering the ground were all dark. Furthermore, in the endless darkness, Ningyu could even sense a few powerful auras. These auras were mostly at the peak of the yin-yang realm. Furthermore, at the end of the darkness, Ningyu could even sense an extremely powerful aura. The aura had even reached the peak of the initial stage of the manifestation realm. The Pill Cavern is the forbidden area of Danwu College. It enjoys the highest level of protection in Danwu College. Perhaps he was afraid that Ningyu would overthink it. Mu Feng explained, although I'm the dean of Danwu College, I'm not like Ouyang Luan. My strength isn't the strongest in Danwu College. Aren't you the strongest in Danwu College? Hearing that, Ningyu raised an eyebrow and suddenly thought of something. He asked, in Danwu College, does the old headmaster know of an old man named Wu Xie? When Ningyu left Tianxin City, his father, Ningyu, had given him a pendant, saying that he was afraid that he would not be able to enter Danwu College. If he was unable to get into Danwu College, he could give the semicircular pendant to an old man named Wu Xie, saying that Wu Xie could help him. However, Ningyu easily entered Danwu College and entered Danwu College as the top scorer in the Sacred Institute's examination. Therefore, Ningyu temporarily forgot about Wu Xie. Hearing Mu Feng's words, Ningyu recalled. He had always felt that Wu Xie was a little special. After all, the red demon sword had been trapped in the pendant for a long time. Wu Xie. Mu Feng frowned and tried hard to recall. After a while, Mu Feng shook his head and said, I remember the names of all the elders and mentors in Danwu College. I have no impression of the old man Wu Xie you mentioned. Is there something important? Seeing Ningyu's disappointed look, Mu Feng continued, if there's something important, I'll immediately ask someone to investigate. As long as Wu Xie is really in Danwu College, we'll definitely be able to find him. Actually, it's nothing important. It's just that my father mentioned Wu Xie before. Ningyu said, leave it to me. After we leave the Pill Cave, I'll immediately get someone to investigate. Mu Feng patted his chest. If that's the case, thank you, old dean. Ningyu thanked him sincerely. Ha! The entrance to the Pill Cave is just ahead. Let's speed up a little. Mu Feng smiled faintly, then suddenly sped up and dashed forward. Not long after, Mu Feng stopped in front of a stone door. Ningyu, insert the medicine spoon into the hole. Mu Feng pointed to the hole in the stone door and said to Ningyu. Click! Ningyu moved to the stone door and inserted the medicine spoon into the hole. As soon as the medicine spoon was inserted into the hole, the stone door slowly moved. Creak! The heavy stone door rubbed against the ground, making creaking sounds. When the stone door was completely open, Mu Feng stepped in first. Behind Mu Feng, Ningyu and Ouyang Luan followed closely. Hiss! As soon as he entered the pill cave, Ningyu was shocked by the scene in front of him. In the air, countless light spots flew past at high speed. These light spots were roughly divided into two types. One was white, and the other was gold. The white light spots contain energy, which is the so-called pure vitality. Mu Feng explained. As for the gold light spots, it contains pure soul power. Swish! Swish! Without waiting for Ningyu to speak, the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast rushed out. Their target was clear. That was the white light spots. The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were still seriously injured. To them, the vitality was a life-saving straw. The pill cave is huge. This is just the entrance. The white and gold light spots are very small. Mu Feng continued. If you can reach the depths of the pill cave, you can even find larger light spots. But I don't agree with you going deep into the pill cave, because you might encounter a pill puppet there. Pill puppet? What's that? Ningyu frowned. Because the pill cave has existed for a long time, it gave birth to a type of virtual body. This kind of virtual body devours the white and gold light spots for a long time, so it's powerful. Mu Feng sighed softly and said helplessly, Actually, the pill puppet is the true treasure of the pill cave. If you can devour the lowest grade pill puppet, not only can your cultivation easily reach the yin-yang intermediate stage, but your soul power can also advance to the tier 6 intermediate stage. I have to remind you that the lowest grade pill puppet strength is suppressed to the creation realm intermediate stage. You must not provoke them. Seeing that Ningyu had an urge to give it a try, Mu Feng hurriedly said, Even the strongest person in the Danwu Academy has no way of contending with the lowest grade pill puppet. They can only govern the pill cavern by dividing the region. Don't worry, Dean. I'll just walk around the periphery. I definitely won't enter the depths of the pill cave, Ningyu said. That's good. I'll find a place to rest first. Do as you please. Mu Feng said this, then tore through the void and disappeared in the blink of an eye. I'm sure you heard what Dean Mu said. I don't want you to provoke the pill puppet. Ningyu turned his head to look at Ouyang Lin, and his figure gradually became illusory. How would I dare to provoke the pill puppet? Ouyang Lin muttered to himself, then hurriedly went to capture the light spots. The pill cave wasn't a place anyone could enter, so Ouyang Lin naturally cherished this opportunity. Swish! After leaving the entrance of the pill cave, Ningyu flew straight to the place with the highest concentration of light spots. After about 10 minutes, Ningyu stopped. Chapter 731. Baida Erningyu first devoured the white light spots. The white speck of light contained pure yuan qi, while the golden speck of light contained pure soul power. Ningyu was well aware of his current situation. His soul force was at the early stage of grade 6. Even if he advanced to the mid-stage of grade 6, his strength would not increase much. Only by advancing his cultivation from the early stage to the mid-stage, or even the late stage, would there be a qualitative change. Buzz! Ningyu continuously devoured the white light spots and felt the violent yuan qi wreaking havoc in his body. Then, it surged into his consciousness. Ningyu had already expected this situation. He hurriedly used the spirit transformation technique to control the yuan qi into his golden core. When he was at the peak of yuan dan, Ningyu had a total of 7 golden cores in his consciousness. When he advanced to the early stage of yin-yang, Ningyu's 7 golden cores shattered and reformed into a single golden core. However, this single golden core contained more energy than the previous 7 golden cores. Although Ningyu devoured a few light spots, it was like a stone sinking into the ocean. It did not impact his golden core. However, Ningyu was not discouraged. He sat cross-legged and continued to devour the white light spots around him. Swoosh! While Ningyu was devouring the white light spots with all his might, 4 head-sized light spots were slowly moving not far in front of him. 4 light spots, 2 white and 2 gold. Wherever these 4 light spots went, not a single blade of grass grew. No, it should be said that there was nothing left, be it the white or gold light spots. they were all devoured by them. Sigh, what bad luck. The treasure land has been occupied by the Diablo. We can only come to the periphery of the pill cave to devour the light spots. One of the white light spots complained, if this continues, when will we be able to advance? You still want to advance? Be content. Fortunately, we ran fast. Otherwise, we would have all been devoured by the Diablo. The other white light spot was scared when it mentioned the Diablo. That's fine too. We can proclaim ourselves as kings in the pill cave's outer perimeter. It's quite free and unfettered, said the golden speck of light. Freedom my ass. If we don't replenish our energy for a long time, our strength will quickly decline. The golden dot at the side didn't think so. He was still very pessimistic. Sigh, I haven't seen anyone for a long time. What if there's someone at this time? The first white dot to speak sighed softly. Before he finished speaking, he pointed to the front and exclaimed, it's an early-stage yin-yang cultivator. It really is a human. The other 3 dots of light also discovered the martial artists not far away. With a shake of their bodies, they transformed from dots of light into human forms. Seeing that the 3 of them had transformed into their human forms, the first white dot of light that spoke also suddenly turned and transformed into a young man who looked like a scholar. I didn't expect to encounter a living human right after escaping. TSK. Devouring humans is much better than devouring motes of light, said the scholarly young man with a sinister smile. Let's go take a look. As for the other 3 spots of light, one was dressed in white, and the other 2 were dressed in golden robes. It was obvious that the golden-robed man was a golden dot of light, while the white-robed man was a white dot of light. I've finally recovered to my peak state. Now I could try to break through to the mid-yin-yang stage. Oh no! The spiritual art devoured primordial chi very quickly. In just a few minutes, Ningyu had already recovered to his peak state. Just as Ningyu was about to try to break through to the mid-yin-yang stage, his expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly stood up. Swoosh! For martial artists suddenly appeared in front of him. Although he didn't know the specific cultivation of these 4 martial artists, Ningyu could still sense traces of a terrifying aura from them. This terrifying aura indicated that these 4 martial artists had reached the mid-yin-yang stage. Could they be the pill puppets that Dimu mentioned? Ningyu's heart skipped a beat, and he vaguely felt that something was wrong. However, on second thought, this place was still very far away from the depths of the pill cave. It didn't make sense for there to be a pill puppet here. Brat, you're lucky to have met us. We're in a bad mood today, so we've decided to split you into 4, half for each of us. The golden-robed man's words were extremely shocking. The moment he opened his mouth, Ningyu's expression completely darkened. Who are you? Ningyu asked in a deep voice. Who are you? We're not humans. I'm Jinda E, and he's Jindo Air. The golden-robed man pointed at himself, and then at the other golden-robed man. I'm Bida E, and he's Bida Air. The white-robed man shrugged. Upon hearing that, Ningyu's face darkened. What kind of F** king names are these? White coat? Golden coat? Are they called coats because they don't have clothes to wear? I don't care what coat you're wearing. In any case, this is Danmu College's pill cave. What do you want? Ningyu wanted to calm the 4 of them down while he contacted the silver winged dragon and the twin horns beast. Even if Ningyu wanted to run, he wouldn't be able to escape from 4 mid-stage manifestation realm experts. He could only contact the silver winged dragon and the twin horns beast to think of a solution. Don't talk nonsense with him. Bida Air, go and split him into 4. We're going to enjoy him. Bida, he waved his hand, gesturing for Bida Air to act as soon as possible. Got it. Bida Air had long wanted to taste something new. As soon as Bida Yi's voice fell, he tore through the void and charged toward Ningyu. Damn it! At this critical moment, Ningyu's first thought was to escape. However, he gave up on that idea in a flash. Because he definitely couldn't escape, he could only fight head-on. That way, he might have a chance. Palm of life and death. Ningyu channeled all the primordial chi in his sea of consciousness into his palm and struck out with his most powerful palm. Netherworld Samsara Palms 7 style, palm of life and death. Bang! However, Ningyu's most powerful move was not even worth mentioning in Bida Air's hands. Bida Air struck out with his palm and blasted Ningyu several meters back. Puffed. Although Ningyu was prepared for the attack of a mid-stage manifestation realm martial artist, he was still severely injured and his aura was slightly weak. Can't even withstand a single blow. Bida Air did not stop after his attack succeeded. Instead, he continued to attack. Swoosh! However, what happened next left Bida Air dumbfounded. Before Bida Air could reach Ningyu, a branch rushed out from Ningyu's storage ring. Hiss! Furthermore, there was a budding flower bud on this branch. Although the flower bud had not bloomed, it was still gorgeous and colorful. The most terrifying thing was that a monstrous engulfment force surged out from the flower bud. This engulfment force arrived beside Bida Air in an instant and forced him back to his original form under Bida Air's horrified gaze. White speck of light. Ningyu was dumbfounded as he looked at Bida Air's original form. Just as he had guessed, Bida Air was not a human, but a pill puppet. A genuine pill puppet. Bida Air, save me. Chapter 732. Flower petals bloom, save my ass. Run. Bida wasn't a fool. He wouldn't foolishly try to save Bida Air. The powerful devouring power that erupted from the flower bud made even him feel guilty. He couldn't muster any thoughts of resisting. Perhaps running was the best choice right now. Swoosh! Swoosh! Seeing Bida escape, Jin and Jin also dashed out and ran into the distance. Chi-Chi! Before Bida and the others could get far, Bida was swallowed by the flower bud. Whoosh! After swallowing Bida, the flower bud finally transformed. One of its petals suddenly split open. Buzz buzz! The blossoming of the petal seemed to make the flower bud even stronger. In the blink of an eye, 3 terrifying devouring powers rushed out from the flower bud. These 3 devouring powers were not only fast, but they were also much stronger than the one that swallowed Bida. Almost in an instant, the 3 devouring powers caught up to Bida and the others. I'll go all out. Poochie. Feeling the devouring power assaulting him from behind, Bida shouted in a low voice and turned around with the intention of resisting it. However, Bida's idea was perfect, but reality was cruel. Bida wasn't much better off than Bida. He was first forced into his original form by the devouring powers, then sucked into the flower bud. Hiss! Seeing Bida's pitiful state, Jin and Jin sucked in a cold breath. Their hearts sank to the bottom. Among the 4 of them, Bida was the strongest. He had the most trump cards. Even someone as strong as Bida was easily swallowed. It was obvious that Jin and Jin wouldn't have it easy. Plop! Since they couldn't escape, Jin and the others bent their knees and knelt on the ground. Human, we're only the weakest pill puppets. You're so strong. The evil king is your real target. Jin shouted, hoping that Ningyu would spare his life. Who's the evil king? Ningyu separated a strand of soul force and stopped the flower bud temporarily. The evil king is the strongest pill puppet in the pill cavern. His strength has reached the late stage of the manifestation realm. Jin seemed to have found a life-saving straw and hurriedly said, as long as you can let this flower bud devour the evil king, it will definitely be able to fully bloom. Ningyu had once counted that the flower bud had a total of 8 petals. At this rate, even if the flower bud swallowed up Jin and Jin, it still wouldn't be able to fully bloom. That's a good idea, but why should I believe you? Although Ningyu really wanted to see the flower bud bloom, he still frowned. The Diablo is in the depths of the pill cavern. If you don't believe me, you can come with me. You'll naturally believe me when you get there, Jin continued. Humph. The evil king is indeed at the late stage of the blessed realm, but he is only one step away from advancing to the peak of the blessed realm. When he saw that Ningyu was about to be convinced by him, Jin snorted in his heart and said, not only is the evil king strong, he's also incredibly hot-tempered. At that time, you will definitely fight, and when the sandpiper and the clam fight, the fisherman will benefit from it. Haha, Before Jean Day could finish his sweet dream, it was mercilessly shattered by Ning Yu's next words. Go to the depths of the pill cavern with you? I'm not an idiot. Ning Yu pursed his lips and said, I didn't look for you, but you wanted to come and eat me. You can only blame yourselves for being too greedy. When Ning Yu said this, Jean Day's face turned pale. Run. At that moment, Jean Day he thought of escaping again, and he put into action. Ning Yu's intention was very clear. He would definitely not let him go. If he did not run now, when would he run? Hee, you're only thinking of running now. Don't you think it's a little too late? Ning Yu smiled and controlled the flower bud to chase after Jean Day. The flower bud had wanted to swallow Jean Day for a long time. Now that it had received Ning Yu's reply, two terrifying, engulfing forces surged out of its body again. Jean Day and Jean Dewey met the same fate. After letting out a shriek like a pig being slaughtered, he transformed into his true form. As soon as they returned to their true forms, they were swallowed by the flower bud. Whoosh, whoosh. After devouring Jean Day and Jean De, another 2 petals bloomed. In addition to the previous 2 petals, there were a total of 4 petals blooming on the flower bud's body. However, the 4 petals only bloomed for a short while before closing again. What ingrate! After devouring so much yuan qi and soul power, he didn't even think of sharing some with me. Ning Yu mumbled as he watched the blooming petals close. Whoosh! Just as Ning Yu was mumbling to himself, a beam of light rushed out of the flower bud and entered his body in an instant. Ning Yu only felt a monstrous wave of yuan qi wreaking havoc in his body, and then it surged into his consciousness. Spiritual transformation technique. The sudden change did not cause Ning Yu to lose his mind. He quickly sat down cross-legged and began to use the spiritual transformation technique to start depleting the yuan qi in his consciousness. Whoosh! However, before Ning Yu finished depleting his yuan qi, another golden beam of light rushed out of the flower bud and entered his body in the blink of an eye. Pure soul power. Ning Yu's mouth was slightly agape, and his eyes were wide open. He could not believe everything that was happening. With his pure soul power and yuan qi, Ning Yu had reason to believe that he would be able to advance very soon. Ning Yu took a deep breath and let the flower bud float in the air. He was going to make a breakthrough with all his might. With the flower bud protecting him, Ning Yu was very relieved. That was because the flower bud was the natural nemesis of the Dan Qi. In Ning Yu's consciousness, the remaining golden core was rapidly devouring the pure yuan qi in the beam of light. At this speed, Ning Yu would be able to advance further and reach the mid-stage of yin-yang realm in half an hour at most. As for Ning Yu's grade 6 soul power, it was madly merging with the pure soul power that was being fed back by the flower bud. At this speed, the strength of Ning Yu's soul power would reach the mid-stage of yin-yang realm in 40 minutes at most, or even the late stage of yin-yang realm. Time passed by minute. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. Bam! When the 31st minute arrived, a muffled sound suddenly came from Ning Yu's consciousness. Immediately, a monstrous aura spread out in all directions with Ning Yu as the center. Rumble. After the monstrous aura spread out, a group of 2 behemoths to the west of Ning Yu revealed a shocked expression. It's in the direction where Ning Yu is. Ning Yu recognized the 2 behemoths. One was a twin-horned beast, the other was a silver-winged dragon. Then what are we waiting for? Let's hurry over before something unexpected happens. The twin-horned beast yelled and directly tore through the void, disappearing in an instant. To the east of Ning Yu, Mufeng looked in the direction where the powerful aura was rising and frowned slightly. He murmured, could it be that Ning Yu broke through? Not good. If it's really Ning Yu breaking through, then it'll be terrible. Mufeng did not dare to think too much and hurriedly rushed out. Just as he said, if it was really Ning Yu breaking through, it would indeed be very dangerous. There were many Dan Qi in the depths of the pill cave. The reaction caused by Ning Yu breaking through was too great, and it was very likely to attract the attention of powerful Dan Qi. Chapter 733. Intimidate you few. In a certain area of the pill cave, Ningyu slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. After 30 minutes of all-out effort, Ningyu finally broke through to middle stage yin-yang realm at the 31st minute. Although it was only a small increase in his cultivation base, Ningyu could clearly feel that his strength had increased tremendously. Even if I don't use my soul power now, I'm fearless against early-stage manifestation realm martial artists. Feeling the majestic vitality waves in his consciousness, Ningyu took a deep breath and mumbled, "Even if I encounter a middle-stage manifestation realm martial artist, I can still escape easily if I can't beat him." Ningyu had an accurate judgment of his own strength. Without using his soul power, he could fight against early-stage manifestation realm martial artists. Once he used his soul power, he could even be on par with a middle-stage manifestation realm martial artist. After all, Ningyu's current strongest technique was the Netherworld Samsara Palm, and the Netherworld Samsara Palm was a soul attack technique. Of course, the prerequisite for Ningyu to be on par with a middle-stage manifestation realm martial artist was that his soul power had to reach middle stage 6. Otherwise, it would all be empty talk. Devour. Naturally, Ningyu would not sit there and wait like a fool. He withdrew his aura and focused on devouring the pure soul power that the flower bud sent back. In the first minute, Ningyu devoured 1/5 of the pure soul power that the flower bud sent back to his body. In the second minute, he devoured 2/5. In the third minute, the fourth minute, until the fifth minute. Bang! A dull sound came from Ningyu's body. Swoosh! Ningyu abruptly opened his eyes after the muffled sound rang out. A berserk soul fluctuation burst out from his body. Not bad. I've actually broken through to middle stage 6. The soul wave around Ningyu flashed for a moment before returning to normal. Initially, Ningyu thought that he could only increase his soul power to middle stage 6 at most. It would be more difficult for him to break through to middle stage 6. Unexpectedly, his soul power really did break through to middle stage 6. Life and Death Palm. After his soul force had reached the late stage of grade 6, Ningyu flicked his wrist and impatiently displayed the Life and Death Palm. In order to test the might of the Life and Death Palm, Ningyu even injected the essence energy in his sea of consciousness into his palm, executing the strongest move he could execute at his current stage. Rumble. In midair, a huge blood-colored handprint suddenly appeared, covering the sky and covering the sun. It was abnormally huge. Who? Suddenly, Ningyu's eyes turned cold. With a low grunt, he controlled the blood-colored palm to attack into the distance. In the direction of the blood-colored palm print, 3 blurry figures were faintly discernible, becoming clearer and clearer. It's Dean Mu and the others. After seeing the person's face, Ningyu hurriedly sent a portion of his soul power into the blood-red palm print, continuously weakening its power. Even if Ningyu went all out when the palm imprint reached Mu Feng and the others, it still had 60% of its power. Not good. F***CK. Who has the guts to attack us? The sudden appearance of the blood-colored palm print caused Mu Feng and the silver-winged dragon's expressions to change greatly. They hurriedly executed their own trump cards to resist. Bang, bang, bang. Although Mu Feng and the others had all executed their strongest trump cards, the result was not ideal. 3 consecutive crisp sounds rang out. Mu Feng and the other 2 fell to the ground like kites with their strings cut. Puff! Even Mu Feng, who had weak resistance, spat out a large mouthful of blood. His breath was slightly weak. The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast did not fare any better. They fell to the ground with their mouths on the ground, looking very miserable. Damn it, who is it? Damn it, it's you. The silver-winged dragon did a carp roll and stood up from the ground. However, just as he was about to explode in anger, he saw a familiar figure rushing over from afar. He was indeed very familiar with this figure. It was Ningyu. I'm very sorry. I didn't know it was you guys. If I had known, I wouldn't have treated you guys like this. Ningyu scratched his head awkwardly. He was a little embarrassed. No matter what, he was the one who made the mistake first. Admitting his mistake was always the right thing to do. Ningyu, what move did you execute just now? Why is it so powerful? Mufong did not have the intention to blame Ningyu. He asked in confusion. One had to know that if he had not used all his trump cards to resist, he would have most likely died. Life and Death Palm is my strongest move at this stage. Ningyu said honestly. After executing this move, I have already exhausted all my strength. I need to rest for a long time to recover. In order to not cause an even greater shock, Ningyu had to fabricate a reasonable reason. Otherwise, Mufong would probably treat him as a monster. Little did he know that Mufong had already treated him as a monster. You've advanced to the middle stage of the Yin-Yang realm. Everyone had their privacy. Mufong felt that the palm earlier was Ningyu's privacy. Hence, he did not continue to harp on it. Instead, he changed the topic and said, also, if I'm not wrong, the strength of your soul force has probably reached the advanced stage of the 6th grade. Nothing can be hidden from the dean. Ningyu laughed. How about this? You stay in the pill cavern for a while longer. I have something to take care of, Mufong said after some thought. What is it? Do you need my help? Ningyu saw Mufang's serious expression and felt that something was about to happen. Nothing big. I'm just going to clean up the traitor of Danwu College. Mufong waved his hand and tore through the void, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Ningyu, you injured us by accident. You must compensate us with 3 Xingyang pills. After Mufong left, the silver-winged dragon demanded an exorbitant price and demanded Xingyang pills from Ningyu. When Mufong was around, the silver-winged dragon would definitely not want to expose the existence of the Xingyang pills. Now that Mufong had left the pill cavern, the silver-winged dragon naturally had a demand for the Xingyang pills openly. Bullsh *T. At most, 1 pill per person. I'll pay you back in 2 months. Ningyu could not be bothered with the silver-winged dragon. He did not beat around the bush and said directly, I promised you guys 1 Xingyang pill before. Now, I've promised you another one. 2 in total. You and the twin horn beast will each get 1 Xingyang pill every month. As for the timing, it's entirely up to me. All right, you guys can go wherever you want now. I have no time to waste with you guys. Swoosh, swoosh. In the next moment, Ningyu's soul force surged as he controlled the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball to fly out of the storage ring. The pill cavern was a good place to recuperate. In the past, Ningyu did not dare to let the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball out to recuperate out of fear of the pill puppet. But now, with the flower bud around, all these problems were easily solved. F***CK. Poor judgment of people. Looking at the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball flying out of the storage ring, the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast could do nothing even though they were furious. Right now, their relationship with Ningyu had been swapped. Ningyu was no longer the one listening to their orders. Instead, they had to listen to Ningyu's arrangements. Chapter 734. Mutin inside the pill cavern. The Dark Emperor and Fur Ball were greedily devouring the white light spots, while Ningyu sat down cross-legged to stabilize his cultivation. Ningyu was different from other warriors. He had advanced to the mid-stage of the Yin-Yang realm and did not have a period of weakness. On the contrary, the Yuan Qi in his consciousness was unusually violent and seemed to be on the verge of a breakthrough. The current situation was very awkward for Ningyu. On one hand, he wanted to break through to the late stage of the Yin-Yang realm. On the other hand, he did not have enough Yuan Qi in his consciousness. According to his deduction, he needed a large amount of Yuan Qi to successfully break through to the late stage of the Yin-Yang realm. At the very least, he needed twice the amount of Yuan Qi that the flower bud gave him. After much consideration, Ningyu decided to stabilize his cultivation first. If there was enough time, he would try to enter the depths of the pill cavern. After all, with the flower bud, Ningyu was not afraid of the so-called pill puppet at all. We have to be smart when dealing with Ningyu in the future. The silver-winged dragon and the double-horned beast muttered to themselves before finding a good place to devour the flower bud. As Ningyu and the rest were in the pill cavern, they knew nothing about what was happening outside. At the same time, Danwu College. In a square somewhere in the sacred college, dozens of warriors had already gathered in the square. Without a doubt, most of these warriors were students of the sacred college of Danwu College. A small number of them were teachers of Danwu College. In the middle of the square, a skinny warrior dressed in black stood there. Beside the skinny warrior, 2 or 3 warriors could be seen lying down. These warriors were mostly at the peak of the primal core realm. There was even one who was at the early stage of the yin-yang realm. It was obvious that these warriors had all been defeated by the skinny warrior. Cough, cough. The skinny cultivator's eyes slowly swept across the crowd. He coughed twice and said indifferently, "I only have one purpose this time, and that is to find Ouyang Lun. I'll give you 3 minutes. If I don't see Ouyang Lun after 3 minutes, I'll kill 1 person every minute." Gasp. Hearing the skinny cultivator's words, coupled with the powerful strength he had displayed, many students gasped. No one dared to step forward to refute him. This friend, we don't even know who Ouyang Lun is. Where do you want us to find him?" After a while, seeing that no one dared to speak, Li Tongtian braced himself and said, "Even if you want to find Ouyang Lun, you have to tell us who he is first." "Oh, you want to know who Ouyang Lun is?" Hearing Li Tongtian's words, the skinny martial artist raised an eyebrow and said calmly, "Since you have such courage, I'll tell you who Ouyang Lun is." Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, the thin cultivator rose from the ground and disappeared in an instant. Not good. The moment the skinny martial artist disappeared, Li Tongtian sensed that something was wrong. However, even if he realized it, it was useless. Bang! The skinny martial artist appeared beside him in an instant, and his fist, which carried a strong fluctuation of yuan qi, landed on his chest. The excruciating pain from his chest caused Li Tongtian to stumble back a few feet and fly towards a giant rock at the edge of the square. The giant rock at the edge of the square was very large, and there was a flying sword stuck in it. Seeing the flying sword stuck in the rock, the surrounding students turned pale. If Li Tongtian had hit the flying sword, he would have been crippled at the very least. Swoosh! Just as everyone was worrying about Li Tongtian, a figure suddenly dashed out from afar and caught Li Tongtian in an instant. Phew! Seeing that Li Tongtian had been saved, many students heaved a sigh of relief. That was close. If progenitor Jiao Mo had appeared just a little later, Li Tongtian would have been dead. Oomph! Who dares to cause trouble in Danwu College's territory? Progenitor Jiao Mo put Li Tongtian down and snorted coldly. Progenitor Jiao Mo was furious. He had been busy dealing with the remnants of the Corpse Een sect when he heard that someone had caused trouble in the Sacred Institute. He immediately put down everything and rushed over. Now that he thought about it, if he had hesitated for even a moment, the fake holy son of Danwu College, Li Tongtian, could have really gone to heaven. It was really frightening to think about it. "Oh, I just beat up the young one, and here comes the old one." The thin martial artist raised his eyebrows and said, "Listen up, I will never change my name or my surname, Mu Tian." Mu Tian? Progenitor Jiao Mo frowned. "Never heard of you. Of course you haven't heard of someone from a small place," Mu Tian said disdainfully. 1 minute has passed. You have 2 minutes left. Arrogant. As a cultivator who was second only to Mu Feng in Danwu College, progenitor Jiao Mo naturally would not choose to compromise. He let out a low roar and dashed toward Mu Tian at a rapid speed. Although Mu Tian was only at the mid-stage of Yin-Yang realm, progenitor Jiao Mo did not underestimate him. Progenitor Jiao Mo had interacted with Ningyu before, so he knew that some heaven-defying monsters could kill people who were a few levels above them. If he underestimated such monsters, he would only be at a disadvantage. However, even though progenitor Jiao Mo did not hold back, he still did not have an easy time against Mu Tian's powerful strength. Crack! Mu Tian punched out and collided head-on with progenitor Jiao Mo's fist. The result was tragic. Not only was progenitor Jiao Mo knocked back dozens of feet, but even his fist was broken with a cracking sound. If Li Tongtian's defeat in a single move had caused the surrounding students to suck in a breath of cold air, then now that forefather Zhou Mo had been defeated in a single move, the surrounding martial artists were all dumbfounded. They didn't even dare to make a sound. Silence. Silence. A deathly silence. The moment an expert made a move, it was obvious. After this exchange, progenitor Zhou Mo basically judged that Mu Tian's strength was at least at the early stage of the manifestation realm, or even stronger. I must inform Dean Mu to come over. Progenitor Zhou Mo gritted his teeth and took out a crystal ball, intending to crush it. Bang! However, how could progenitor Zhou Mo's small movements escape Mu Tian's notice? Before he could crush the crystal ball, Mu Tian flicked his sleeves, and a cold light shot out and hit him in the chest. The already heavily injured progenitor Zhou Mo's aura became even weaker after being hit by this cold light. Trash who has always been defeated by me in one move can't do anything without my permission, Mu Tian said calmly. Suddenly, Mu Tian's eyebrows twitched. Looking at the void not far away, he said indifferently, "Come on out. If I didn't guess wrongly, you should be the strongest person in the Danwu Academy." Buzz. As soon as Mu Tian finished speaking, the void trembled. Then, a figure appeared from the void. Dean! The surrounding Danwu College students cried out excitedly when they saw the figure that had suddenly appeared. Mu Feng was the dean of Danwu College. Many students knew that. In their minds, Mu Feng was the guardian of Danwu College. Whenever Danwu College was in danger, he would always appear. Chapter 735. Unraveled. Not bad, not bad. He's actually at the early stage of the manifestation realm. Looking at Mu Feng, who was slowly walking towards him, Mu Tian gloomily said, "It's just that there's still a long way to go before I reach the middle stage of the manifestation realm. Old Dean, be careful. This Mu Tian is not simple." Before Mu Feng could reach Mu Tian, ancestor Zhou Mo's voice resounded in his mind. "Don't worry, I know what to do." Mu Feng naturally knew that Mu Tian was difficult to deal with. He took a deep breath to appease old ancestor Zhou Mo and slightly quicken his pace. After a while, Mu Feng arrived beside Mu Tian and said in a deep voice, "Speak. What exactly do you want?" "I don't want to do anything. I just want to see Ouyang Luan." Mu Tian shrugged and said, "Ouyang Luan?" Mu Feng was startled at first. Then he calmly said, "Ouyang Luan is the ancestor of the imperial family. If you want to see him, you should go to the imperial family. What is the meaning of coming here?" "Ha ha ha. Do you take me for a fool?" Mu Tian laughed hysterically and spoke in a cold voice. "The emperor of the great Xia kingdom, Ouyang Ba, personally said that Ouyang Lin is in Danwu College. You better stop wasting time. There is still 1 minute left. If I don't see Ouyang Luan, I will start a massacre." "Humph. Mu Tian, don't go too far." Mu Feng snorted coldly. "I'm going too far? That's because I have the qualifications to bully others." "Do you?" Mu Tian curled his lips and said. This sentence caused Mu Feng's anger to soar to the heavens. This was Danwu College. It was not a place for an outsider to behave atrociously. Therefore, Mu Feng moved. Whoosh! When he didn't move, it was fine, but when he did, it was shocking. After staying in the pill cavern for such a long time, Mu Feng had already recovered to his peak condition. Even though he was still a distance away from the middle stage of the manifestation realm, he was not as weak as Mu Tian had made him out to be. Sigh, there are some people in this world who are not afraid of death. When Mu Tian saw Mu Feng dashing towards him, he sighed and slowly closed his eyes. Hua! When the surrounding students saw Mu Tian closing his eyes, they all revealed looks of excitement. Some of the students even started discussing among themselves. How arrogant! The patriarch is at the early stage of the manifestation realm, yet he dares to be careless when fighting him. That's right. I'm not surprised that Mu Tian was able to defeat Patriarch Zhou Mo. After all, Patriarch Zhou Mo is at the half step to manifestation realm, but Patriarch Zhou Mo is at the early stage of the manifestation realm. Mu Tian is clearly courting death by doing this. Everyone, keep your eyes open. Don't miss. What? Seeing Mu Tian close his eyes, the crowd of students began to discuss. However, before the last mid-primal core disciple could finish his sentence, his eyes widened in disbelief. Mu Feng's iron-like fist actually passed through Mu Tian's body. After image, when the palm passed through Mu Tian's body, Mu Feng's expression changed greatly as he hurriedly retreated, because even he didn't know exactly when Mu Tian had vanished. The fact that Mu Tian was able to hide from his eyes and senses meant that Mu Tian was very powerful. At the very least, he had to be extremely careful. Otherwise, he would be doomed. What happened next caused Mu Feng's mouth to gape slightly as he stood rooted to the ground. Unknowingly, Mu Tian had already appeared behind him. Mu Tian's right hand pushed out horizontally and smashed onto Mu Feng's back. It looked like an ordinary palm, but it was extremely powerful. Puffed. Dark red blood spurted out from Mu Feng's mouth. After the blood spurted out, Mu Feng's aura dropped rapidly. In just a few seconds, Mu Feng's aura dropped from the early stage of the manifestation stage to the primal core stage. At this moment, Mu Feng's appearance was extremely miserable. Not only was his face devoid of blood, but it even gradually turned black. In the end, his entire face was extremely black. Even when he fought with the powerhouses from the Blood God Palace, Mu Feng didn't end up in such a state. It could be said that Mu Feng's current situation was the most miserable and depressing he had ever been since he advanced to the early stage of the manifestation stage. Sigh, what a pity. Time's up. Mu Tian didn't care about Mu Feng's miserable appearance. He sighed lightly and said indifferently, I've already said that if I don't see Ouyang Luan in 3 minutes, I'll kill a Danwu College student every minute that passes. After that, Mu Tian's gaze slowly swept across the surrounding students. Finally, it stopped on a mid-primal core stage student. In the first minute, I'll start with you. Mu Tian's face was expressionless. After saying this, his body melted into the void. In an instant, Mu Tian appeared beside the mid-primal core stage martial artist. Bang! Mu Tian threw a punch directly at the mid-primal core stage student's chest, causing him to retreat more than 10 steps. Oh yes, I've said that I'll kill a student every minute. I'm a man of my word. It hasn't even been a minute, so I'll let him live for now. In another 30 seconds, I'll kill him. Mu Tian didn't use his full strength in this punch. In fact, he only used less than 5% of his strength. But even so, the mid-primal core stage student couldn't withstand it, and his aura was extremely weak. The rest of the Danwu College students, and even the Danwu College tutors, didn't dare to step forward to help after seeing the miserable state of this mid-primal core stage student. The situation was already very clear. Whoever stepped forward to help would also end up in the same miserable state. Tick-tock, tick-tock, time passed second by second. 30 seconds. Every second that passed was like a stone pounding on the hearts of the crowd. Especially the mid-primal core stage student who had fallen to the ground. His face was deathly pale. These 30 seconds might be the last of his life. Dean, it'll be too late if we delay any longer. Patriarch Jiao Mo said hurriedly from afar. Patriarch Jiao Mo knew that Mu Feng wasn't the strongest person in Danwu College. Only Mu Feng could call out the strongest person in Danwu College. The others didn't have the slightest idea what to do. Wait a little longer. Mu Feng's expression was solemn as he said in a low voice, I'll call for help in the last 10 seconds. In fact, Mu Feng was also helpless. Patriarch Jiao Mo didn't know the full story. Although the strongest person in Danwu College was powerful, he had only agreed to help Danwu College 3 times. Out of the 3 times, 2 had already been used. If the 3rd time was used, Danwu College might be besieged by various forces for a long time to come. Therefore, unless it was absolutely necessary, unless it was a life-and-death juncture, or the moment when the Danwu Academy was completely annihilated, Mu Feng would not use the 3rd chance. Dean, there's actually another way. Patriarch Jiao Mo gritted his teeth. Ouyang Luan is in the pill cavern. Why don't I inform Ningyu and ask him to bring Ouyang Luan out? It's too late. Patriarch Jiao Mo took a deep breath and murmured, The pill cavern is quite far from here. 20 seconds won't be enough for a round trip. Even if it's not enough, we can't just sit and wait. We have to try. If Ouyang Luan had come a minute earlier, Dongwu College would have lost one Sacred Institute student. Patriarch Jiao Mo said fiercely. All right, go, and come back quickly. I'll try to delay Mu Tianyi for another 2 minutes. Mu Feng nodded heavily. In fact, Mu Feng had long disliked Ouyang Luan. Chapter 736. No one could blame him. Please wait a moment. When Patriarch Jiao Mo heard Mu Feng agree to his request, he hurriedly tore through the void and headed for the pill cavern. However, before Patriarch Jiao Mo could tear through the void, an indifferent voice rang in his ears. Swish! Patriarch Jiao Mo gritted his teeth when he heard the familiar voice. He stomped his feet and shot into the distance. Oomph! I'm giving you face, but you don't want it. Mu Tian snorted when he saw Patriarch Jiao Mo defy him. A cold light shot out from his sleeve. The cold light was extremely fast, and it arrived before Patriarch Jiao Mo in the blink of an eye. Patriarch Jiao Mo's expression turned grave when he saw the cold light. He hurriedly summoned the origin energy in his sea of consciousness and wrapped it around his wrist. Then he sent out a palm print. The palm print was very small at first, but it gradually expanded as it moved forward. In the end, it expanded by several times. Chi! Moreover, the friction between the palm print and the void produced a sizzling sound. Crack! Even though Patriarch Jiao Mo had used all his strength to execute this palm print, which had practically emptied out all the origin energy in his sea of consciousness, it was of no use. In an instant, the palm print shattered with a loud bang. Bang! Poochie! Then 2 crisp sounds suddenly rang out. The first sound came from Patriarch Jiao Mo crashing into the ground. The second sound came from Patriarch Jiao Mo spitting out a mouthful of blood. The 2 sounds indicated that old ancestor Jiao Mo had been gravely injured. Damn it! Mu Feng's face darkened when he saw Patriarch Jiao Mo's miserable state. He couldn't help but berate, Mu Tian, don't go too far. Don't think that Dongwu College has no one. Oh, I never said that Dongwu College has no one. Mu Tian revealed a strange expression. Then, he changed the topic and said coldly, what I meant was that everyone from Dongwu College is trash. Why? Are you not satisfied that I said that Dongwu College is trash? Seeing the angry expressions on the faces of the surrounding cultivators, Mu Tian continued, if anyone is not convinced, you can come out and have a match with me. As long as you can withstand 3 of my moves, as long as you can withstand one of my moves, I will admit my mistake and take out a medicinal pill to treat those 2 pieces of trash. As he spoke, Mu Tian pointed at Patriarch Jiao Mo and Li Tongtian. His meaning was clear. Despite Mu Tian's words, no one dared to come forward and fight him. What a joke! Even old ancestor Jiao Mo wasn't Mu Tian's match, and Mu Feng was defeated in a single move. Fighting with Mu Tian at this time was tantamount to courting death. All right, since you're all cowards, don't blame me. Seeing that no one had any intention of making a move, Mu Tian shrugged his shoulders and walked towards the fallen mid-primal core stage practitioner. As he walked, Mu Tian said, actually, I didn't want to kill you, but the time was up and no one was willing to save you. I had no choice but to kill you. Don't come looking for me after you die. If you want to blame someone, blame the students of Dongwu College, the tutor, the dean. Actually, he doesn't need to blame anyone. Before Mu Tian's words faded, an indifferent voice slowly echoed from afar. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. In the next moment, 4 figures sped past the entrance of the square and landed in the middle of the square. Ningyu. Ouyang Luan. The sudden appearance of several figures caused 2 exclamations in the square. The first exclamation was from Mu Feng. The second exclamation was naturally from Mu Tian. Crack, crack. Ningyu's face darkened as he saw the miserable state of Mu Feng, Patriarch Jiao Mo, and Li Tongtian. His hands were clenched so tightly that they cracked. The reason why Ning Yu could arrive at the square so quickly was all because of Ouyang Lun. Not long after Mu Feng left the pill cavern, Ouyang Lun hurriedly found Ning Yu and told him that the mysterious martial artist from the royal family had come to Danwu College. Moreover, Ouyang Lun said that the mysterious man had a bad temper and was eccentric. If he couldn't find Su Mo, he would most likely start a massacre. Therefore, Ning Yu could only leave the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball in the pill cavern while he left with the silver-winged dragon and the rest. To be on the safe side, Ning Yu also left the flower bud in the pill cavern. After all, there was a pill puppet in the pill cavern. If the pill puppet attacked the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball, the consequences would be unimaginable. Ouyang Lun, get over here. Just as Ning Yu was deep in thought, Mu Tian broke the silence and scolded, "If you make me unhappy, I will flatten the capital and the royal family." Ouyang Lun heard Mu Tian's words and stood still without any intention of moving. Ouyang Lun's reaction made Mu Tian's face turn ugly. In his opinion, Ouyang Lun must have forgotten his strength. Otherwise, he would not dare to disobey him. "Don't say him. No matter what you say, Ouyang Lun will not go over." Ning Yu waved his hand and signaled Mu Tian to stop wasting his energy. "So, Ouyang Lun has been subdued by you?" Mu Tian said darkly. "Whether Ouyang Lun has been subdued by me or not has nothing to do with you, right?" There were many people here, and Ning Yu did not want everyone to know that he had subdued Ouyang Lun. Therefore, he said indifferently, "Moreover, Ouyang Lun is the old ancestor of the royal family. If he was easily subdued by a martial artist in the middle stage of Yinyang realm, I'm afraid the royal family would have changed a long time ago. You are indeed arrogant, but I don't know if you have the capital to be arrogant." Mu Tian said coldly. As soon as Mu Tian finished speaking, he stomped his feet on the ground and dashed out in an instant. Swoosh! Mu Tian's speed was very fast, and he arrived at Ning Yu's side almost in an instant. Then, Mu Tian's fist brought an extremely violent Yuan Qi gale, and it fiercely smashed towards Ning Yu's head. Mu Tian did not look down on Ning Yu, because when Ning Yu saw him, although he showed a strong anger, he was still very calm. It should be known that even a martial artist in the initial stage of Fate Realm would not be so calm when he saw him. Therefore, Mu Tian concluded that Ning Yu was not simple. Mu Tian always used his full strength to deal with powerful geniuses, and he would not hold back. As soon as Mu Feng made his move, Ning Yu's face turned solemn, and he did not dare to have the slightest neglect. In the next moment, a violent Yuan Qi fluctuation appeared on Ning Yu's wrist, and it collided with Mu Tian's fist. Bang! The two fists collided, and a muffled sound suddenly rang out. Then, the two figures retreated backward. Mu Tian took 3 to 4 steps back before he stabilized his body. As for Ning Yu, he only stopped after taking 5 steps back. Just from the surface, it was clear who was superior to the other in this strike. However, only Ning Yu and Mu Tian knew the exact situation of the battle. His strength is so strong to be able to block a punch with 50% of my strength. Mu Tian's eyes revealed a hint of shock, but this shock disappeared in a flash, and no one saw it. I used 40% of my strength, and this martial artist should have used 50% of his strength. After this move, although it was difficult for Ning Yu to judge Mu Tian's true strength, Ning Yu could be sure of one thing. Chapter 737. Men of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. To think that someone would be able to block my attack in a place as remote as the Great Xia Kingdom. Not simple indeed. Mu Tian rubbed his slightly swollen wrist and said calmly, "You're strong and talented. It would be such a waste not to be my follower." "You want me to be your follower? Have you lost your mind, or are you suffering from epilepsy?" Hearing Mu Tian's words, Ning Yu let out a look of disdain, not giving Mu Tian any face at all. "I, Mu Tian, love dealing with people who think they're infallible." Mu Tian wasn't angry as he continued, "I have 100 ways to kill anyone who dares to go against me. You want to kill Ning Yu? Have you asked us?" Before Ning Yu could refute Mu Tian's arrogant words, the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast beside him couldn't take it anymore. The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were infuriated. Kill Ningyu? This was clearly a joke. To the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast, Ningyu was a moving Shenyang pill manufacturing machine. As long as Ningyu was around, they could continue extorting Shenyang pills. Furthermore, not only did Ningyu owe them 2 Shenyang pills each, he had also promised to give them each a manifestation elixir. The manifestation elixir and Shenyang pill were indispensable items for them to break through to the early stage of the manifestation realm. If Ningyu were to be killed, who could they reason with? Therefore, they couldn't allow Mu Tian to kill Ningyu. Oof. 2 trash demon beasts who haven't even reached the early stage of the manifestation realm dare to talk to me. Mu Tian snorted coldly as his body gradually turned illusory. Watch out! Seeing Mu Tian's body turn illusory, Ningyu knew that something bad was about to happen. Remember this in your next life. There are some people that trash demon beasts like you cannot afford to offend. As expected, the moment Ningyu's warning left his mouth, Mu Tian appeared behind the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast. Bam! Bam! Mu Tian attacked with both his hands at the same time. 2 fists containing berserk yuan chi landed on the backs of the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast. The silver Quetzalcoatlus and the twin-horned beast fell forward to the ground, as if they were the Grim Reaper. Puff! Puff! The metallic taste in their throats caused the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast to spit out blood, their auras instantly dropping to the freezing point. TSK, TSK, TSK. I was wondering how formidable you all were, but turns out that this is bad. Mu Tian was just about to mock them when his face warped in horror, because he discovered that the silver Quetzalcoatlus and the twin-horned beast had disappeared for no reason. In the next moment, the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast appeared at Mu Tian's side. One in front and one behind, 2 rays of cold light that contained monstrous energy shot towards Mu Tian at an astonishing speed. At such a close distance, Mu Tian was naturally unable to effectively defend himself. He could only use his physical body to block the 2 beams of cold light. However, the result was beyond everyone's expectations. Even after withstanding such a powerful sneak attack from the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast, Mu Tian still looked as if nothing had happened, standing in place unscathed. Retreat! The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were rather rational. Seeing that their sneak attack had failed, they hurriedly tore through the void and flew to Ningyu's side. Ningyu, this is too difficult. We can't deal with it. I'll leave it to you, the silver-winged dragon said in a low voice. If it really doesn't work, then let's retreat. Where there's life, there's hope. The twin-horned beast was very open-minded and suggested to retreat from Danwu College. Retreat? What do you think you're retreating to? Mu Tian's ears were very sharp. The twin-horned beast's whisper naturally did not escape his ears. So your name is Ningyu. Very well, I'll give you one last chance. Submit to me and become my follower, my dog. Not only will I spare your life, but I'll also release the many elders and students of Danwu College. Oh, right. Not only will you be my dog, but that old trash Ouyang Luan will also enjoy the same treatment as you. Mu Tian continued. How about it? You have 1 minute to consider. When the time is up, don't blame me for not giving you face. Are you that confident that you can defeat me? Ningyu did not answer Mu Tian directly. Instead, he said, you're in the middle stage of Yin-Yang realm, and so am I. Hold on. How can your middle stage of Yin-Yang realm compare to me? Forget it. It seems that the move just now has given you a lot of confidence. I'll let you know what true strength is. As soon as the word strength fell, Mu Tian stomped on the ground and flipped his wrist. A black flying sword appeared in his hand. Ningyu, watch carefully. I'll take your life with this sword. Swoosh! As Mu Tian roared, a shocking sword wave was slashed out from the sky. Chi! Chi! Wherever the sword wave passed, even the air was compressed and sizzled. The surrounding students felt the violent primordial chi contained in the sword wave and quickly retreated, staying away from the area. The fourth style of the Supreme 9 Purities Sword Art, 9 Purities Sword Wave. He's from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. Looking at the huge sword wave that was constantly attacking him, Ningyu's eyes narrowed and revealed a look of disbelief. As soon as Mu Tian executed the sword wave, Ningyu could tell that it was the fourth style of the Supreme 9 Purities Sword Art, 9 Purities Sword Wave. Generally speaking, it was almost impossible for outsiders to obtain a supreme offensive technique like the Supreme 9 Purity Sword Art. Ningyu concluded that the Mu Tian in front of him was most likely someone from the Grand 9 Purities Palace. Let's test him. Although the 9 Purity Sword Wave that Mu Tian executed was powerful, Ningyu was more familiar with it and knew how to counter it. Therefore, Mu Tian's Sword Wave couldn't hurt Ningyu. In order to confirm his guess, Ningyu decided to test Mu Tian to see if he was from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple and what kind of relationship he had with the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. Palm of life and death. Ningyu took a deep breath, and the Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness surged and wrapped around his palm. Then, Ningyu withdrew his palm, and Yuan Qi that was even more violent than the sword wave appeared on the palm. Crack! The 9 Purities Sword Wave that Mu Tian executed was only the fourth style of the Supreme 9 Purities Sword Art, while the Palm of Life and Death that Ningyu executed was the sixth style of the Netherworld Samsara Palm. The result was obvious. A cracking sound could be heard as Mu Tian's 9 clear sword ripple was instantly split in half. After shattering the sword wave, the blood-colored palm did not stop. It continued to attack, wanting to kill Mu Tian. Oomph. You think I'm a sick cat if I don't show my power? Seeing that the 9 Purity Sword Wave was shattered, Mu Tian snorted and waved the flying sword in his hand again. In an instant, an even larger sword wave appeared in the air and collided with the blood-colored palm in the air. Crack! Crack! This time, the palm and the sword wave were evenly matched. Neither could do anything to the other, and both dissipated between heaven and earth. He should be from a Supreme 9 Purities Temple. Seeing the second sword wave that Mu Tian executed, Ningyu could basically confirm that Mu Tian was from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. Absolute Sword Wave. Chapter 738. Chapter 738, turning into a trick. Ningyu, the palm attack you just performed should be your strongest move at this stage, right? Mu Tian held the black flying sword in his hand and said sinisterly, I'm not afraid to tell you that the two sword waves are just the appetizer. The main event is coming up next. After saying that, the vitality in Mu Tian's consciousness surged out and was injected into the black flying sword in his hand. Buzz! As the vitality continued to be injected, the black flying sword in Mu Tian's hand vibrated slightly. If I'm not mistaken, Mu Tian is going to perform the sixth form of the Supreme 9 Purity Sword skill, Solitaire. Ningyu knew what Mu Tian was going to do as soon as he stuck his butt out. However, the power of Mu Tian's 9 Purity Sword Wave and Absolute Sword Wave was just SOSO. In fact, they were not even as powerful as Ningyu's. Therefore, Ningyu was not worried that Mu Tian would perform Solitaire. At most, Mu Tian had only cultivated Solitaire to the extreme. Swoosh! However, what happened next completely overturned Ningyu's understanding. In the air, an unusually huge sword wave was formed. Solitaire. Looking at the huge sword wave in the air, Ningyu's pupils contracted and he wore a look of disbelief. In fact, it was no wonder that Ningyu was dumbfounded. Not only was the sword wave much bigger than what he had performed, but its power was also on a different level. At that moment, Ningyu thought of a possibility. Could it be that I haven't cultivated Solitaire to the extreme? Ningyu thought that he had cultivated Solitaire to the extreme. However, it seemed like he was wrong, extremely wrong. Judging from the Solitaire that Mu Tian had performed, he had only grasped the surface of Solitaire. He had not even reached the beginner level. This was F*King awkward. All right, I want to see what's so special about your Solitaire. Since he didn't know much about solitaire, Ningyu decided to take the risk and observe Mu Tian's solitaire up close. Because only in this way could he improve further and cultivate solitaire to the extreme. Although Ningyu had such thoughts, he was not a fool. He knew that he had to protect himself. Shio! While rushing towards the huge sword wave, Ningyu released all of his soul power and stuck it on the surface of his body. Not only that, Ningyu also controlled the essence Qi in his sea of consciousness to form a hidden protective barrier around his body, forming the first line of defense. With 2 layers of protection, Ningyu dared to charge toward the sword wave without any fear. He wanted to get to the bottom of it. Not only did the students in the plaza not notice the 2 layers of protection that Ningyu had set up, even Mu Tian did not notice anything amiss. Overestimating yourself. Mu Tian cupped his fists and kept the black flying sword. His eyes emitted a frightening radiance. Whoosh! Mu Tian didn't have much of a reaction, but the students in the plaza were in an uproar. What is Ningyu going to do? Does he think that he can resist the sword wave with his bare hands? Crazy. Ningyu must be crazy. Old Dean, hurry and stop Ningyu. He's clearly courting death by doing this. Ningyu's sudden reaction caused a commotion among the students in the plaza. In the end, there was even a student who reminded Mu Feng to stop Ningyu. At this moment, Mu Feng was really suffering in silence. After being heavily injured by Mu Tian, his aura had dropped to the freezing point, and he couldn't recover. He didn't know what Mu Tian did to him, but no matter how he recovered, no matter what elixirs he took, it was of no use. What is this kid doing? In a corner of the plaza, Silver-Winged Dragon frowned, puzzled. How would I know what he's doing? But don't worry, Ningyu is a smart kid. He definitely won't do something he's not confident in. The twin-horned beast curled its lips. That's true. Silver-Winged Dragon thought about it, and felt that what the twin-horned beast said made sense. Ever since they knew Ningyu, it seemed that Ningyu had never truly fallen into a dangerous situation. This time, it seemed that Ningyu was in danger, but there was actually something fishy. After all, with Ningyu's strength, if he wanted to run, he could definitely escape. Since Ningyu wanted to take the risk, it naturally meant that he had his reasons. Crack! While everyone was still discussing, in midair, Ningyu had already arrived in front of Solitaire. 1 second before Ningyu arrived in front of Solitaire, the next second, the first line of defense around him, the Yuan Qi Light Shield, was directly crushed by the terrifying pressure. I have some idea. The shattering of the Yuan Qi Light Shield did not stop Ningyu from continuing forward. He discovered a clue, discovered that the solitaire that Mu Tian used was slightly different from the one he used. Ningyu decided to continue forward, to observe solitaire from a closer distance. Crack, crack. As Ningyu advanced without any regard for the consequences, it caused the Yuan Qi Light Shield around him to completely shatter. Whoosh! Ningyu would not let this Yuan Qi go to waste. He opened his mouth and sucked the Yuan Qi back into his body. Qi! As Ningyu absorbed the Yuan Qi, his body continued to advance. This time, what was destroyed was the second line of defense formed by the late-stage 6th grade Soul Force. I know it's the Soul Force. Just before the second line of defense was completely destroyed, Ningyu's eyes revealed a shocked expression, and he hurriedly retreated. Rumble. If it were not for Ningyu's quick retreat, he would probably have been seriously injured. Because he did not retreat far, Solitaire suddenly exploded, a huge shockwave spreading in all directions. Although Ningyu had left a step earlier, he was also the person in this area closest to the explosion, so naturally, he was affected the most. Suffering the impact of the Solitaire's explosion, although Ningyu was prepared, he still spat out a large mouthful of blood, and his aura was slightly weakened. However, compared to the students around the square, the weakening of Ningyu's aura was negligible. I owe my hand, my leg, my eyes, I can't see. Around the square, most of the students with low cultivation were paralyzed on the ground, some covering their hands, some covering their legs. There were even some students covering their eyes. Obviously, these students were affected by the shock wave of the Solitaire's explosion, and they suffered unprecedented injuries. Ningyu, don't force yourself. Even in the Grand Supreme, even in my sect, the power of this sword wave can be ranked in the top 5. The corner of Mu Tian's mouth curled up slightly, and he smiled sinisterly. If you can't take it, kneel down and kowtow to me a few times. That way, I can give you a quick death, and you won't die for no reason. Cough, cough. Hearing Mu Tian's words, Ningyu's heart skipped a beat, and he hurriedly coughed twice. In order to make it seem more realistic, Ningyu covered his mouth with his hand and even coughed out a few mouthfuls of blood. Oh no, Ningyu is injured. Seeing Ningyu coughing out blood, Mu Feng's heart sank to the bottom. The current situation was obvious. As long as Ningyu could not defeat Mu Tian, everyone would be finished. Chapter 739. Defeat you? We can't wait any longer. We have to inform the senior. Mu Feng gritted his teeth and forced out a few drops of blood essence to burn despite his heavily injured body. Chi. While he was burning his blood essence, Mu Feng said in a low voice, Senior, I've decided to use the third chance now. Please step forward and kill Mu Tian immediately. After Mu Feng finished speaking, he anxiously waited, hoping that the so-called senior would appear as soon as possible. Now is not the time for me to act. Let's wait a little longer. After a while, a powerful voice resounded in Mu Feng's mind. What the hell are we waiting for? If we wait any longer, Ningyu will be killed. Mu Feng said anxiously and even cursed. Ningyu won't be defeated so easily. The vigorous voice continued. Let me give you a heads up first. This time, it is not just Mu Tian who came to the Danwu Academy. Whoosh! Hearing the voice in his head, Mu Feng's heart thumped. Senior, it seems that there is another heaven-defying existence hidden in Danwu College. Thinking of this, Mu Feng's face turned ashen. He was the old dean of Danwu College, the guardian of all the students of Danwu College. In the hearts of Danwu College's students, as long as he was around, outsiders wouldn't dare to behave atrociously in Danwu College. Now, he could only rely on Ningyu to support himself. Failure. What a failure. As the dean of Danwu College, Mu Feng felt that he was a failure. After this incident, he decided to abdicate his position and let Ningyu take over the position of dean. Of course, this was all for later. The most important thing now was whether or not Ningyu would compromise. Mu Tian, you are indeed very strong. Ningyu took out a piece of cloth from his bosom and wiped the blood on his palm. He said lightly, You want me to kneel down and kowtow to you? That's not impossible. Voila! When Ningyu said this, the faces of the surrounding students turned ashen, looking extremely unsightly. However, I have a request. Ningyu didn't care about the reactions of the students around him. He changed the topic and said, Before I kneel before you, I want to see you use solitaire one more time. What? You know that I executed the solitary sword surge. Mu Tian's eyes widened when he heard Ningyu's words, and he berated, Speak. Who the hell are you? Ningyu did not answer Mu Tian. Instead, he pretended to drag his tired body forward step by step. Humph! You will pay for your arrogance. Seeing that Ningyu was ignoring him, Mu Tian harumphed coldly and dashed out. Mu Tian's speed was very fast. He arrived at Ningyu's side almost in the blink of an eye. Since you want me to perform the solitary sword wave again, I'll perform it for you to see. Mu Tian held the black flying sword in his hand and instantly slashed out a sword wave that was as thick as an arm. In Mu Tian's opinion, he didn't need to use his full strength to deal with the severely injured Ningyu. A solitaire with 50% of its strength was enough to kill Ningyu. Mu Tian, you've been tricked. Sensing that the power of Mu Tian's solitaire had been reduced by half, Ningyu grinned, and his aura suddenly exploded. Today, I'll let you know that you're not the only one who can use solitaire. I could do it too. As soon as he finished his sentence, a blood-red flying sword appeared in Ningyu's hand. Under Mu Tian's shocked gaze, Ningyu also slashed out a sword wave that was as thick as an arm. Pissed. However, the sword wave that Ningyu slashed out was obviously more powerful than Mu Tian's. In fact, It was much more powerful. What? You can also use solitaire? This is impossible. Mu Tian was dumbfounded. Before he came to the Great Xia Kingdom, if someone told him that he would meet a martial artist who could use solitaire in the Great Xia Kingdom, he would probably give that person a slap. However, some things always happened in an inexplicable and unexpected manner. No, 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 no. Could it be that person's son? Suddenly, Mu Tian seemed to have thought of a possibility. His expression instantly changed from being dumbfounded to ecstasy. Crack! The ecstasy on Mu Tian's face didn't last for long, as he was attracted by a cracking sound. In midair, the two solitaire collided with each other. Although Mu Tian had a deeper understanding of solitaire, he only used 50% of his strength while Ningyu used his full strength. Under such circumstances, the solitaire that he executed was directly shattered. At the crucial moment, Mu Tian waved the flying sword in his hand continuously, trying to slash out solitaire again. The ideal was great, but the reality was harsh. Before Mu Tian could slash out solitaire, he realized that the space in front of him was surging. Immediately after, the space was completely torn apart, and a figure rushed out from within. Swoosh! The figure that rushed out from the space was none other than Ningyu. Ningyu took advantage of the moment when Mu Tian let his guard down to use the Red Devil's sword to quietly tear through the void and come to Mu Tian's side. Ningyu gathered all the essence in his sea of consciousness on his wrist. He threw a punch that brought along a monstrous force of essence and punched at Mu Tian's chest. To be honest, if Ningyu didn't know that Mu Tian's mother in this life was from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, he wouldn't have punched at Mu Tian's chest. Instead, he would have punched at Mu Tian's heart. Poof! Mu Tian's reaction was already very fast, but Ningyu was even faster. Before he could react, Ningyu's fist had already hit his chest. The huge force from his chest caused Mu Tian to feel a sweetness in his throat. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Crack, crack. After spitting out the blood, Mu Tian first clenched his fists, then wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He said viciously, "Ningyu, I'm going to tear you into pieces just because of this punch. There are many people who want to tear me into pieces, but you're not the only one." Ningyu automatically ignored Mu Tian's words and said calmly, "If you weren't from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, my punch just now would have been enough to take your life." Take my life? Oomph. Even a martial artist in the advanced stage of the manifestation realm can forget about killing me, let alone you. Mu Tian snorted coldly. Even a martial artist in the advanced stage of the manifestation realm can forget about killing you? Ningyu thought that Mu Tian was joking. Given Mu Tian's current state, any martial artist in the Yuan Dan realm could kill him, let alone a martial artist in the advanced stage of the manifestation realm. Ningyu couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with Mu Tian. To deal with such a person, he should at least let him have a taste of pain. Otherwise, who would pay for the pain that Li Tong Tian, Mu Feng, and the rest had suffered? I'd like to see what makes you so arrogant. Ningyu wasn't the kind of person who only talked and did not do anything. He would do what he said. The next moment, he stomped on the ground and charged towards Mu Tian at a shocking speed. Looking at the approaching Ningyu, Mu Tian crossed his arms in front of his chest. He had no intention of resisting. It was as though he had Ningyu in his grasp. Mu Tian's reaction was a little out of Ningyu's expectations. Oh no! Chapter 740. The first move, **T. Ningyu's expression changed drastically when he sensed the violent gust of wind in front of him. This turn of events had obviously exceeded his expectations. He had not expected a powerful cultivator to be hiding in the surroundings. Being able to hide from his senses meant that the other party's cultivation base was very high. There was no time for him to think about these messy things. Ningyu raised his right hand, and a violent wave of yuan qi appeared in his palm. Then, with a piercingly cold, murderous intent, it exploded. To be on the safe side, Ningyu had even wrapped his advanced stage 6th grade soul power and the azure spiritual fire that he had not used for a long time around his fist. Against a powerful cultivator, He had to give it his all. Otherwise, he would die a horrible death. Crack! In the next moment, the two fists collided and a crisp sound rang out in the area. After the attack, Ningyu hurriedly took a few steps back. He glared at the gray-robed elder and said in a deep voice, "Who are you?" Although it was a hasty exchange, Ningyu could basically tell that the elder before him was very powerful. His cultivation base was at least in the mid-stage of the manifestation realm. However, Ningyu was a little confused. Logically speaking, it was difficult for a mid-stage manifestation realm cultivator to hide from his senses. Could there be another cultivator hiding in the void? It doesn't matter who I am. What's important is that you have offended young Master Mutian, so you must pay the price. The gray-robed elder laughed sinisterly. I'll give you two choices now. 1. Cripple your own hands, kneel down and admit your mistake. 2. Pei Wen, stop talking. No matter what, I will take Ningyu's life today. Mutian interrupted the gray-robed elder with a vicious expression. Young Master Mutian, this kid is protected. You can't kill him. The gray-robed man called Pei Wen purposely lowered his voice and said, Don't go overboard. Otherwise, we might die at Danwu College. Impossible. Hearing this, Mutian's eyes widened as he said coldly, Elder who is a pinnacle expert. Not to mention Danwu College. Even in the entire Great Xia Kingdom, there is no one who can go against him. Although you don't believe me, it is the truth. Leave this matter to me. Don't interfere. I promise to give you a satisfactory explanation, Pei Wen said. In fact, Pei Wen felt helpless. His cultivation level was indeed at the middle stage of the blessed realm, and he seemed to be the strongest person present. But reality was different. In terms of cultivation, he was only the third strongest in this area, because there were two terrifying auras hidden in the void. The first terrifying aura came from Hu Jian, elder Hu of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. The second terrifying aura came from the depths of Danwu College. As for its strength, it was likely that even Elder Hu was a little afraid of it. Otherwise, with Elder Hu's character, he would surely not give such a kind reminder. After all, in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, Elder Hu is famous for his bad temper. Pei Wen, I'll tell you a secret. Mutian also knew that Pei Wen would not speak nonsense. He rolled his eyes and decided to come up with a plan to use Pei Wen. What secret? Pei Wen was puzzled. Mutian moved slightly closer to Pei Wen and whispered a few words in his ear. What? No one knew what Mutian said to Pei Wen, but it made Pei Wen jump. At the same time, Pei Wen stared at Ningyu with a burning gaze like a hungry wolf staring at a wild rabbit. After all, Pei Wen was a middle-stage blessed realm martial artist, so he tried his best to control himself and asked, Is the news reliable? Absolutely. You won't get another chance if you miss this one. Think about it carefully. Mutian said this and did not say anything else. All right, 1 second. Pei Wen only thought for 1 second, and he had decided on a major matter. Before the burning look on his face disappeared, Pei Wen turned to stare at Ningyu and said, I've changed my mind. As long as you can take 3 moves from me, I'll let you live. You want to take 3 moves from you? Ningyu frowned, not knowing what Pei Wen was up to. Ningyu agreed to it. Just as Ningyu was secretly thinking, the Red Fiend's voice sounded in his mind. But you have to change the rules. You have to use a sword for these 3 moves. I have to use a sword. Ningyu's heart skipped a beat as he asked in confusion. That's right. This mid-stage blessed realm martial artist clearly wants you dead. In that case, you might as well make use of his mentality and attack first. The Red Fiend nodded. Hey kid, be more straightforward. Ningyu still wanted to say something, but Pei Wen seemed a little impatient. He said, This is your only chance to live. If you miss it, then don't be long-winded. Isn't it just 3 moves? I'll agree to it. Ningyu first interrupted Pei Wen's words, then immediately changed the topic and said, But I have a request. We have to use a sword for these 3 moves. Use a sword? I don't care what you use. In short, 3 moves. If I block it, I'll live, but if I don't, I'll die. Pei Wen did not care what these 3 moves were used. To him, anything could easily kill Ningyu. It was just that, in order to not be discovered, Pei decided to use his full strength in the second move and kill Ningyu. This way, even if that powerhouse from Danwu College wanted to make a move to stop it, it would be too late. Moreover, Hu Jin would definitely not look on with folded arms when the powerhouse from Danwu College made a move. By the time a victor was decided, Ningyu would have long been killed until not even dregs remained. Swoosh! In the next instant, Pei took out a flying sword from his bosom. The flying sword was silvery white in color, containing violent essence energy undulations. A peak low-grade king rank flying sword. The flying sword Pei, when utilized, was a peak low-grade king rank flying sword, and its might was extremely formidable. With the peak low-grade king rank flying sword in hand, Pei arrived before Ningyu with a few leaps, and then he slashed out with his sword towards Ningyu's head. First move, Pei shouted loudly. Swish! When they saw Pei Wen's mighty sword strike, the eyes of the surrounding students opened wide, and they revealed astounded expressions. How could Ningyu possibly resist the full strength of an intermediate stage creation realm martial artist? For a time, everyone looked down upon Ningyu, and it was even to the extent that some students started sighing. Alas, it's over. It's completely over. I originally thought that Ningyu could become the savior of the world, but who would have imagined that Ningyu isn't inferior to this powerhouse? Ningyu has already done very well, but it's a pity that this powerhouse possesses a cultivation at the intermediate stage of the creation realm. Right, if Ningyu advances to the creation realm, then he can surely become the guardian of Danwu College. What? The last student hadn't finished speaking when his mouth opened slightly while his pupils opened wide, and he seemed as if he'd seen something unbelievable. Everyone's gazes moved along the direction of this student's palm towards the center of the battlefield. Swoosh! It was fine if they didn't look, but once they did, it directly caused all the students to be dumbstruck on the spot. Crack! At the center of the battlefield, Ningyu held the red devil sword in his hand as he slashed down from midair. A clear sound resounded out, and the outcome caused Pei to be shocked. Exactly what flying sword is that in Ningyu's hand? It actually slashed apart my low-grade king rank flying sword. Chapter 741. To refrain from shooting the rat for fear of harming the innocent at the thought of this, Pei Wen's face burned with passion. His cultivation was at the middle stage of the creation realm. If he could obtain a royal-grade flying sword, he could even fight against martial artists at the late stage of the creation realm, or even at the peak of the creation realm. May I ask, what's your name? Just as Pei was feeling ecstatic, Ningyu's voice suddenly rang in his ears. Pei answered instinctively. However, as soon as he finished speaking, Pei Wen's pupils constricted, and he wanted to retreat. This was because he realized that Ningyu had already appeared beside him at some point in time. At this moment, he was holding a red flying sword and stabbing it straight at his heart. At such a close distance, coupled with the fact that Pei was completely defenseless, there was naturally no way for him to dodge. Puff! Ningyu gripped the red demon sword in his hand and stabbed out, piercing right into Pei Wen's heart. Mo, don't leave anyone alive. Ningyu is no saint. Pei Wen had already made it very clear that he wanted to kill him. If he still showed mercy, it would definitely be somewhat inexcusable. Therefore, after succeeding in his attack, Ningyu instructed the Red Fiend in the Red Fiend sword. Kill him. Actually, there was no need for Ningyu to say that. The moment the Red Fiend sword pierced Pei Wen's heart, the Red Fiend controlled the Red Fiend's sword to unleash a powerful devouring force that frantically devoured Pei Wen. Chi-Chi. The devouring power of the Red Demon sword was extremely terrifying. Hiss. Although Mu Feng, an old ancestor Jiao had witnessed the power of the Red Demon sword in the forbidden area of Danwu College, they still felt a lingering fear when they saw this familiar scene. As for the surrounding students, they stood rooted to the ground, dumbfounded. In just a few seconds, a martial artist in the intermediate stage of the creation realm was killed just like that. Moreover, this martial artist in the middle stage of the manifestation realm had died in an extremely cruel manner. Only his skeleton was left lying flat on the ground. Ningyu, you killed Pei 1. The person who was most shocked by Pei Wen's death was none other than Mu Tian. Mu Tian would never have imagined that Pei 1, who was in the middle stage of the Blessed Realm, would actually die at the hands of Ningyu, and in such a brutal manner. He's just a martial artist in the middle stage of the manifestation realm. So what if he's dead? What's there to be surprised about? Ningyu shrugged and said calmly, "Don't worry. Now that Pei 1 is dead, you'll be next." "Do you really think you can kill me?" Suddenly, Mu Tian became abnormally calm, terrifyingly calm. "I can't be bothered to talk nonsense with you." Ningyu didn't care if Mu Tian was cold or not. To him, he had to capture Mu Tian alive. If they couldn't capture him alive, then they would kill him. Whoosh! Ningyu flicked his wrist and recalled the red demon sword. Then, he tore through the void and charged toward Mu Tian. Looking at Ningyu getting closer and closer, Mu Tian's lips curled into a smile. He actually closed his eyes in front of so many people. Has Mu Tian lost his mind? I guess so. He dares to close his eyes while fighting against Ningyu. He must be tired of living. Pei 1, who is in the middle stage of the manifestation realm, is no match for Ningyu. Does Mu Tian think he can easily kill a martial artist in the middle stage of the manifestation realm? Seeing Mu Tian close his eyes, Ningyu's reaction was different from that of the other students. He was very careful. At the same time, he quietly released his perception. "I'm going to kill him." After releasing his perception, Ningyu immediately cursed, because he realized that an extremely powerful aura was flying toward him at high speed. Although this martial artist had yet to tear through the void and appear in front of everyone, Ningyu could tell that this martial artist cultivation was at least in the late stage of the manifestation realm. It was even possible that he had reached the peak of the manifestation realm. It was true that when the young were beaten, the old came. When the old were beaten, the one who was about to enter the grave came. The moment he sensed the powerful aura, Ningyu decided to flee. He fled at high speed. However, the second after Ningyu made the decision to flee, he realized that an equally terrifying aura was gradually appearing on the other side. "I'm going all out. I have to capture Mu Tian first no matter what." Ningyu had heard from Mu Feng that there were martial artists in Danwu College who were more powerful than him. Now that two powerful auras had appeared at the same time, it was needless to say that one was the person behind Mu Tian, and the other was definitely a hidden powerhouse in Danwu College. Forgive and forget. Mu Tian is not someone you can offend. If you know what's good for you, you'd better stop. A powerful voice rang in Ningyu's ears. It shook Ningyu so much that he was on the verge of collapsing. However, Ningyu knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He would definitely not give up so easily. It's best that you don't interfere in the fight between the younger generation. After the powerful voice rang, faint laughter also rang in the area, directly dispelling the loud noise in Ningyu's ears, causing Ningyu to wake up completely. No! When Ningyu woke up, it was naturally Mu Tian's nightmare. At this moment, Mu Tian's heart was filled with mixed feelings, as if he had eaten **T. Mu Tian had placed all his hopes on Hu Jian. Now that Hu Jian was blocked, and he pretended to not resist, the result was obvious. Puffed. Fresh blood spurted out. Mu Tian's aura dropped rapidly. In just a second, Mu Tian's aura dropped from the early stage of Yin-Yang realm to the true martial realm. When his aura dropped to the true martial realm, Mu Tian was like a little chick in Ningyu's hand. Hu Jian's expression was terrible. Mu Tian's position in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple was very high. If he was killed in the Xia Kingdom, even if he returned, he would not be able to explain. Damn it, Danwu College also has a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm. Hu Jian glanced at the old man beside him and cursed in his heart. Hu Jian was very helpless. As the saying went, a powerful dragon could not suppress a snake in its own territory. Moreover, he was not a powerful dragon, and his strength was at most on par with the old man. If they really fought, it was unknown who would win and who would lose. Seeing the old man appear, Mufeng hurriedly sent a soul message. Senior, I have decided to use the third chance to kill this expert. Dean Mu, I can't fulfill your request. The old man took a deep breath and replied, the expert you want me to kill has a cultivation similar to mine. Similar to yours. Hearing the old man's words, Mu Feng's eyes widened. Similar to the old man's cultivation? Didn't that mean that this expert's cultivation had reached the peak of the manifestation realm? At this moment, a wave of despair rose in Mu Feng's heart. According to the agreement between Danwu College and the old man, after the third chance was used, the old man would leave Danwu College. As long as the old man left Danwu College, how could Danwu College resist this expert at the peak of the manifestation realm? Ningyu did not know the worries in Mu Feng's heart. He only had one thought in his mind, and that was to control Mu Tian. As long as he could control Mu Tian, the martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm before him would definitely hesitate to attack. Ningyu, you saw it too. Hu Jian's cultivation is at the peak of the manifestation realm. If you kill me, he will definitely start a massacre in Danwu College. Chapter 742. A Foolproof Plan. Your father holds a high position in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. If I remember correctly, other than the Palace Lord, there are also 9 Supreme Elders in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. I wonder if your father is the Palace Lord or the Supreme Elder. Ningyu asked calmly. My father is one of the top 5 Supreme Elders in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Mu Tian said proudly. With my father's ability, not only can he let you enter the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, he can even make you an inner disciple. No, he can make you a core disciple. To me, this is indeed a great temptation. Ningyu took a deep breath and made a longing expression. Seeing that Ningyu was about to be convinced by him, Mu Tian's eyes flickered as he continued. Ningyu, your innate talent is one of the best even in the Supreme Nine Purities Palace. Why do you need to stay in a place like the Great Xia Kingdom where even birds don't shit? As long as you fall for it, I have 100 ways to kill you. Mu Tian snorted in his heart. Word to no proof. You have to show some sincerity, Ningyu said indifferently. What sincerity? Mu Tian raised his brows and asked doubtfully. It's very simple. Ningyu pointed at Mu Feng and the others not far away and said, you barged into the Dan Wu Academy indiscriminately and injured many students and instructors. Even the old dean was injured by you. We have to settle this score properly. I was wondering what it was. It's simple. Mu Tian waved his hand, not taking this matter to heart. He flicked his sleeve and a storage bag flew out. Ha! Ningyu grabbed the storage bag and at the same time sent a part of his perception into the storage bag. Just these few crystals? Are you sure you're not trying to get rid of a beggar? After a while, Ningyu retracted his perception and shook the storage bag in his hand with a cold expression. Pooh! Ningyu's words caused Mu Tian to spit out a mouthful of blood, leaving him stunned on the spot. Others might not know how many crystals were in the storage pouch, but Mu Tian was very clear about it. 1 million royal grade origin crystals. In order to obtain Ningyu's trust, Mu Tian gave Ningyu an entire 1 million royal grade essence crystals. Unexpectedly, Ningyu said it wasn't enough. Let's do it this way. Double the price, and we'll write it off. Ningyu shrugged. Damn it. Mu Tian cursed. However, he had no choice but to lower his head when he was under someone else's roof. Moreover, he still had to gain Ningyu's trust. You can't catch the wolf without risking the child. You can't catch the tiger cub without entering the tiger's den. At this moment, Mu Tian did not know why he was bewitched, but he suddenly thought of this sentence. Here, Mu Tian pondered for a second. A second later, he threw another storage bag to Ningyu. Ningyu did not even check how many royal grade origin crystals were in the storage bag and directly threw it into his storage ring. I've done everything according to what you said. Can you let me go now? Mu Tian said when he saw Ningyu keep the storage bag. Let you go? Why should I let you go? Ningyu's mouth opened slightly as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. he said with a smile. Your backer is a peak manifestation realm martial artist. Wouldn't I be courting death if I let you go? You're going back on your words. Mu Tian's expression darkened instantly as he said coldly, I never go back on my words because I never said that I would rely on you from the start. I just want you to show some sincerity. Your sincerity to Dean Mu is enough, but not to me, Ningyu said indifferently. What sincerity do you want? Mu Tian gritted his teeth and said, This amount. Ningyu extended a finger and said, If you want me to let you go, you need at least 10 million royal-grade origin crystals. Gasp. This request raised by Ningyu not only made Mu Tian suck in a breath of cold air, but even Hu Jian and the surrounding students also sucked in a breath of cold air. An exorbitant demand. Truly an exorbitant start. Hu Jian's expression was similarly very ugly. Originally, he thought that Mu Tian could use royal-grade origin crystals to bribe Ningyu. Who could have thought that Ningyu was a wolf cub that could not be fed to his fill and was even more sinister and cunning than them? Since that was the case, Hu Jian decided to teach Ningyu a lesson. But before that, Hu Jian had to finish off the old man opposite him, because the old man's cultivation was the same as his, both peak manifestation realm. The two were equally matched. Old man, I don't care who you are, but this is a personal grudge between the Supreme Nine Purities Temple and Ningyu. If you interfere, it's going against the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Hu Jian shouted coldly. Ningyu can represent Danwu College, but can you represent the Supreme Nine Purities Temple? Opposite Hu Jian, the old man said with a faint smile. Humph. Mu Tian's father is the Supreme Nine Purities Temple's 5th Grand Elder. He can naturally represent the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. Hu Jian said with a cold snort. I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Anyway, with me around, you can forget about behaving atrociously in Danwu College. Finished saying this sentence, the old man shut his eyes and did not speak anymore. Courting death. The old man's words thoroughly stirred up Hu Jian. Even in the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, martial artists who dared to talk to him like this were not many. He did not expect that he ran into a rebuff in Danwu College. Swoosh! With a low roar, Mu Tian instantly dashed out, stirring up gusts of wind around him. Buzz! Wherever Mu Tian passed, the void even emitted a slight tremor. Bang! In the next instant, Mu Tian's fist collided with the old man. After the clash, the two figures rapidly retreated. Judging from the distance they retreated, the old man had the upper hand. Old fart. Although it was only a short exchange, Hu Jian could determine that the old man's strength was slightly stronger than his. It was almost impossible for him to kill the old man. However, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens for the old man to kill him. However, just as Hu Jian was about to use his second move, a scream that sounded like a pig being slaughtered rang out in the area. Hu Jian hurriedly stopped and looked in the direction of the sound. Brat, do you have a death wish? It would have been fine if he did not look, but the moment he did, Hu Jian was on the verge of exploding in anger. In the distance, Ningyu slapped Mu Tian's face several times, each slap landing on his face. At this moment, Mu Tian's cheeks were extremely swollen, and his head was several times bigger than an ordinary pig's head. Only a 100-year-old pig's head could compare to Mu Tian. Of course I want to live. Ningyu slapped Mu Tian a few more times before stopping. Hu Jian clenched his fists so hard that cracking sounds could be heard, and he shouted in a deep voice, I think you have a death wish. It's not impossible for me to let Mu Tian go, but I have 2 requests. Ningyu said calmly. In fact, when Hu Jian and the old man were fighting, Ningyu had already learned from Mu Feng about the agreement between the old man and Danwu College. After this attack, the old man would leave Danwu College completely. Based on Hu Jian and Mu Tian's anger, once the old man left, they would definitely start a massacre in Danwu College. Therefore, Ningyu had to think of a foolproof plan, and the key to this foolproof plan was Mu Tian. Chapter 743. Requirements right now. Not only was Mu Tian's breathing weak, Even his eyes were swollen until he could not see anything. Even if Ningyu played some tricks on him, he had no way of knowing either. Although Hu Jian was paying attention to Ningyu, he had to pay attention to the elderly man at all times to prevent the elderly man from sneaking an attack. Reaching their level of strength, the slightest distraction, and they might very well be killed mercilessly. After all, Ningyu was a peak grade 9 alchemy master in his previous life. Hence, he chose the safest method, which was to quietly inject a wisp of soul force into Mu Tian's body. In order to prevent Hu Jian from discovering any inklings, Ningyu chose to beat Mu Tian into a pig's head. Firstly, he could vent his anger. Secondly, he could divert attention. State your requirements. Hu Jian forcefully suppressed the rage in his heart and said in a solemn voice. Hu Jian could ignore Pei Wen's death, but Mu Tian could not. Once Mu Tian was killed, he would suffer a calamity too. No matter what price he had to pay, he had to protect Mu Tian. Protecting Mu Tian was his bottom line. As for the injuries on Mu Tian's body, he would slowly settle with Ningyu in the future. The first request, this is between us. I don't wish for you guys to implicate Danwu College. From today onwards, you guys are not allowed to take half a step into Danwu College. Ningyu said. The second request, take out another 2 million pieces of King-grade essence crystals to redeem Mu Tian. Hearing these two requests of Ningyu, Hu Jian's expression was very ugly. The second request was not a problem to him at all. 2 million pieces of King-grade essence crystals. He could take it out easily. The first request made him very angry. In Hu Jian's heart, Ningyu would be killed by him sooner or later. Even if he ran to the ends of the world, it would not work. If he agreed to Ningyu's first request, and Ningyu hid in Danwu College for the rest of his life, wouldn't he suffer a loss? Suffering a loss was a small matter. If demonic thoughts were left in his heart, it would have a huge impact on him, impacting the Supreme Realm. One could say that if the demonic thoughts in his heart were not resolved, he could forget about impacting the Supreme Realm for the rest of his life. I know what you're worried about. Don't worry, I won't stay at Danwu College forever. Naturally, Ningyu knew what Hu Jian was thinking. He said faintly, I will leave Danwu College in 3 to 7 days. To be honest, Ningyu felt very helpless. He knew that he couldn't push them too hard. Otherwise, they would be the ones to suffer. Sire, my strength is still too low. Ningyu looked at the old man in midair and sighed. All right, just because of what you said, I'll agree to your 2 requests. Hu Jian flicked his sleeves, and a storage bag flew out, flying towards Ningyu. Hu Jian wasn't afraid that Ningyu would go back on his word because he knew that Ningyu wouldn't dare to. Ningyu was definitely afraid that he would contact the people from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. Ningyu grabbed the storage pouch firmly and inspected it for a moment before tossing it into his storage ring. Here you go. After that, Ningyu kicked Mu Tian's butt, sending him flying out. Woo-woo. Mu Tian couldn't even tell his nose from his mouth. All he could do was let out a whimper. Oomph. Ningyu, remember what you said. 3 to 7 days at least. Hu Jian caught Mu Tian and said coldly, If I don't see you in 7 days, don't blame me for going back on our agreement. After saying that, Hu Jian tore through the void and disappeared with the severely injured Mu Tian. The people from a Supreme 9 Purities Temple have appeared in the Great Xia Kingdom. It seems like it's not safe for them to stay in the Great Xia Kingdom anymore. I have to inform them and ask them to leave as soon as possible. After Hu Jian left, the old man's expression was extremely grave. The third chance was already used up in Danwu College, and there was naturally no need for the old man to stay. He tore through the void and vanished in a blink of the eye. When he saw the old man vanishing, Mu Feng just stood up and slumped back onto the ground. Dean Mu, distribute these King-grade essence crystals and seal up Danwu College. Without my permission, no one is to leave the college. Ningyu took out a storage pouch from his bosom, which contained 2 million royal-grade origin crystals, and passed it to Mu Feng. We cannot accept these King-grade essence crystals. Mu Feng knew that there was no such thing as a free lunch. Just take it. They are Mu Tian's compensation to you. Ningyu's tone was unquestionable. In addition, Try not to let anyone else know about the things that happen here. Don't worry. Leave it to me. Since Ningyu already said it like this, it would be a little unreasonable for Mu Feng to still decline. Keeping the storage bag, Mu Feng said in a clear voice, Ningyu's strength is obvious to everyone. I hereby announce that in the next month, Ningyu will assume the position of the acting dean of Danwu College. Whoosh! Mu Feng's appointment was absolutely shocking. Letting a junior assume the position of acting dean, this was the first time in history. But the strength that Ningyu displayed was indeed competent for the position of Danwu College's dean. In addition to the 2 million king-grade essence crystals that Ningyu generously took out, there was actually no one who objected for a moment. Dean Mu, letting me assume the position of dean, maybe. Ningyu did not expect that Mu Feng would let him be the dean, and he himself was a little dumbfounded. Let you be the dean, then be the dean. What's with all the nonsense? Mu Feng said unyieldingly. All right then, I'll temporarily be the acting dean for a month. After a month, I'll return the dean position to you. Ningyu knew Mu Feng's temper. He said helplessly, in the next 7 days, I'm going to the pill cavern to cultivate. If there's anything, contact me immediately. As he spoke, Ningyu took out a crystal ball and separated a wisp of soul force into it. As long as I crush the crystal ball, I'll come out of the pill cavern immediately. Swoosh! Leaving these words, Ningyu tore the void and flew towards the pill cavern first. Behind Ningyu, the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast followed closely. As for Ouyang Luan, he was requested by Ningyu to stay behind to be in charge of Danwu College's safety. Elder Zhao, go seal off Danwu College. Before Ningyu exits seclusion, no one is allowed to enter or leave. Seeing that Ningyu disappeared, Mu Feng began to issue orders. The rest of you, come to my side to collect your king-grade essence crystals. Everyone has the same amount. Whoosh! Hearing Mu Feng's words, the surrounding students and mentors all revealed heated expressions. 2 million king-grade essence crystals, and there were only 30 to 40 people present. Converting it, everyone would get 50 to 60,000 pieces. In the past, it was very difficult for them to earn 50 to 60,000 pieces of king-grade essence crystals in their entire lives. Now, with a word from Ningyu, they would get their share. Hence, the numerous students and mentors would definitely support Ningyu. While everyone was distributing the king-grade essence crystals in a dense forest outside the capital. Rustle. Suddenly, several figures tore through the void and landed in an empty area in the dense forest. Boom! The moment these figures landed, an abnormally terrifying aura instantly soared into the sky. If someone was in the surroundings, they would definitely discover that these martial artists' cultivation was very high. Among the 30 martial artists, the one with the lowest cultivation was at the half-step manifestation realm. Even the black-robed man in the lead had his aura surging out explosively. Peak late-stage manifestation realm. Chapter 744. Malevolence, Sect Master. When will we attack the capital? An early-stage manifestation realm cultivator beside the black-robed cultivator asked carefully. There's no hurry. You've just advanced to the early stage of the manifestation realm not long ago. Stabilize your cultivation first. The black-robed martial artist waved his hand and said, Corpse Berserk has already gone to the capital ahead of us. You guys should stabilize your cultivation while waiting for good news from Corpse Berserk. Sect Master. Although Corpse Maniac is the second heavenly king of the Corpsine sect, his cultivation is also at the early stage of the manifestation realm. The warrior at the early stage of the manifestation realm said, You guys are only responsible for stabilizing your cultivation. Don't think about anything else. The black-robed cultivator interrupted the early stage manifestation realm cultivator and said in a deep voice, We'll leave immediately in 2 days and flatten the capital. Yes. Hearing the black-robed martial artist's words, the surrounding martial artists responded in unison. More than 30 pinnacle experts answered in unison. Their voices resounded through the heavens and into the distance. Whoosh! What these corpse sect cultivators didn't know was that their loud voices had attracted the attention of two cultivators not far away. Compared to these two martial artists, the black-robed martial artist's strength was not much different, because the cultivation of these two martial artists was also at the peak of the late-stage manifestation realm. They should be people from the corpse sect. One of the two cultivators said, "Should we deal with them? With our strength, even if we can capture all of them in one fell swoop, it will consume too much of our strength. The gains do not make up for the losses." Another slightly fatter cultivator said, "If I'm not wrong, these cultivators should be the top fighting force of the corpse sect's branch. We can take advantage of the fact that their headquarters is empty to strike them." "Good idea." The thin martial artist raised his eyebrows and said, "According to my observation, these people from the corpse sect should be going to besiege the capital." The slightly plump martial artist continued, "There's no time to lose. Let's set off as soon as possible. When the time comes, we can still rush back to watch the show." Whoosh, whoosh. These two martial artists left as soon as they said they would, without the slightest bit of sloppiness. Ningyu had no idea what was happening outside the capital. At that moment, Ningyu had already entered the pill cave of Danwu College. Woof, woof. As soon as Ningyu entered the pill cave, he heard two dogs barking. Needless to say, two dogs were barking. Sure enough, Ningyu looked up and saw that the Dark Emperor and Furball were neck and neck. The heaven-devouring hound is indeed heaven-defying. How long has it been, and it has already recovered to its peak? Ningyu sighed softly as he sensed the auras emanating from the Dark Emperor and Furball. It was not surprising that he felt that Ningyu. In such a short time, the Dark Sovereign and Furball had not only recovered to their peak condition, but their strength had even improved. Even if it was him, he wouldn't dare to say that he could reach this level. Chun is. Ningyu first looked at the Dark Emperor and Furball, then at the sky above their heads. Ning, ding, king. 2, king, king, ding, ning, 10, king. One had to know that Ningyu had left the flower bud behind before he left the pill cavern. "Ningyu, I know you are looking for the world. You're looking for that thing. Follow me," King said when he saw Ningyu's dark expression. "Silver-winged dragon, twin-horned beast. Find a place to recover. I have something to do." Ningyu also didn't want the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast to know that he had the branch of the world tree. He first gave a few instructions, then followed the Dark Emperor's guidance and flew into the distance. "Remember, you owe each of us 2 Shengyang pills." Seeing that Ningyu was about to leave, the silver-winged dragon shouted, "And a rebirth pill." Twin-horned beast added, "Swoosh." Ningyu was focused on the branch of the world tree. Naturally, he did not reply to the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast. Along the way, Ningyu asked King what was going on. "After you left, we tried our best to devour the light spots to recover," the Dark Emperor explained. "Just as we recovered to our peak state, a huge white speck of light tore through the void and appeared beside us. In order to protect us, the flower bud forcefully fought with the white speck of light. In the end, the white light spot was defeated and fled into the depths of the pill cave. Damn it, this is bad. There is a powerful pill puppet in the depths of the pill cave." Ningyu cursed. Although Ningyu was confident in the flower bud's devouring ability, he had never been to the depths of the pill cave. There might be a peak manifestation realm pill puppet. The flower bud only had 4 petals. There were still 4 petals that had yet to bloom. When devouring by Dei and the rest, Ningyu already knew that the flower bud's devouring ability would grow stronger as the petals bloomed. If all 8 petals were in full bloom, Ningyu would not be worried. That was because the flower bud could fight against a peak manifestation realm pill puppet. Now that the flower bud only had 4 petals, it might not be able to defeat a late manifestation realm pill puppet. Faster. Worried that the flower bud would encounter danger, Ningyu did not hesitate to burn his vital energy to increase his speed. Ningyu's speed had increased a lot after advancing to the yin-yang intermediate stage. Now that he forcefully increased his speed, The Dark Emperor and Fur Ball could not keep up. Swoosh! Swoosh! The Dark Emperor and Fur Ball were not idiots. They turned into a blur and entered the storage ring. Chi-Chi. The pill cave was huge. It was so huge that Ningyu had flown for half an hour and had yet to reach the deepest part. However, as Ningyu ventured deeper into the pill cave, the white and golden light spots around him gradually increased and became denser. In the end, the light spots completely blocked his path. Solitaire. Helpless, Ningyu could only take out the red demon sword and slash out. Whoosh! An astonishing sword wave surged out, and the light spots in front of him were scattered. Just like that, Ningyu slashed out every once in a while. When he slashed out for the 50th time, the area in front of him suddenly opened up. The area in front of him suddenly opened up, but Ningyu's expression completely darkened. This was because Ningyu saw that the flower bud was trapped in an array formation in midair not far away from him. Several huge light spots guarded around the flower bud, injecting energy into the array formation. Refine the flower bud. The goal of these light spots was very clear, and that was to refine the flower bud. Damn it! Before Ningyu could say anything, the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball rushed out from the storage ring to rescue the flower bud. Hold on. How could Ningyu allow the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball to mess around? He reached out and grabbed the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball tightly before saying in a low voice, "Come out. If I'm not wrong, you should be the most powerful person in the pill cave, the Evil King. I didn't expect you to even know my name. You are indeed not simple." As soon as Ningyu finished speaking, the space in front of him rippled, and then a young woman in purple clothes slowly walked out from within. The young woman was around 20 years old. She wore a purple robe and had beautiful hair. Chapter 745. Purple Oraning Yu was not attracted by the young woman in front of him, because Ningyu knew that everything was an illusion, everything was fabricated. What one heard might not be true, and what one saw might not be true. Jean Dei said that Evil King was the strongest pill puppet in the pill cave, and his cultivation had reached the late stage of creation. Now it seemed that Jean Dei was definitely lying, because the aura of Evil King Purple Spirit in front of him was not the late stage of creation, but the peak of creation. I have to think of a way to save the flower bud. Ningyu's eyes turned, thinking of a countermeasure. Ningyu was very clear about his own situation. His current strength was not Evil King Purple Spirit's match. However, Ningyu did not give up. Since Evil King Purple Spirit did not attack him immediately, it meant that there were two possibilities. First, Evil King Purple Spirit was afraid of him. Of course, this possibility was very small. Second, Evil King Purple Spirit had a favor to ask of him. This possibility was very high. Thinking of this, Ningyu decided to test Evil King Purple Spirit and said calmly, "Evil King Purple Spirit, tell me your request. What will make you release the flower bud?" Hee, it's easy to talk to smart people. Evil King Purple Spirit laughed lightly and said, "My request is not high. As long as you can successfully bring me out of the pill cave, I will release the flower bud." Bring you out of the pill cave? Ningyu raised his eyebrows. He did not expect Evil King Purple Spirit to make such a request. Pill puppets were intelligent beings born from the pill cave, and they had a powerful devouring ability. If they left the pill cave, it was very likely that they would cause unpredictable danger to the outside world. "That's right, bring me out of the pill cave." Evil King Purple Spirit nodded. "I'm afraid it will be very difficult. I only have the cultivation of the middle stage of Yin-Yang realm. Even if I promise you, I do not have the strength." Ningyu shook his head and said, "Unless my cultivation rises to the late stage of Yin-Yang realm, or even the peak of Yin-Yang realm, then there will be a sliver of a possibility of bringing you out of the pill cave. That's simple. I don't have anything else, but I have a lot of energy spots." Evil Monarch Violet Spirit waved his hand, and several huge specks of light appeared in front of Ningyu. Some were white, some were gold, and there were more than 10 of them. "Your cultivation is at the middle stage of Yin-Yang realm. and your soul force is at the late stage of level 6. I'll give you 2 days to improve your cultivation to the point where you can take me out of the elixir cave. Otherwise, I'll swallow the flower bud, and you'll die too. Voila! As soon as he finished speaking, Violet Spirit's eyes turned cold. He directly tore through the void and disappeared. When the evil King Violet Spirit disappeared, the flower bud was also taken away, disappearing from the world. Remember, you only have 2 days. In order to remind Ningyu, after evil spirit King Violet Spirit disappeared, a voice still rang out in this area. Woof woof. After evil King Violet Spirit left, Furball suddenly broke free from Ningyu's grasp and flew into the air. Furball. Holy shit. Seeing Furball fly out, Ningyu instinctively wanted to stop him. However, when Ningyu saw Furball's actions, he opened his mouth wide and was speechless. Furball did not want to fight evil King Violet Spirit to the death. Instead, he was busy devouring the specks of light in the air. When evil King Violet Spirit left, he did not take the dozen or so huge specks of light in the air with him. The intelligence of these dozen or so specks of light had already been wiped out by evil King Violet Spirit, and all that was left was pure energy and soul force. The origin chi contained in each speck of light was comparable to Jin Dei and the others. Ningyu, let go of me. I'm going to F** King devour the specks of light too. Seeing Furball begin to devour the specks of light, the Dark Emperor shouted, as if the specks of light would be devoured by Furball if he was a step slower. Ningyu's face was full of black lines. It was not that Ningyu did not want Furball and the Dark Emperor to devour the specks of light, but Ningyu was not sure if evil King Violet Spirit had done anything to these specks of light. Just think about it. If evil King Violet Spirit had done something to these specks of light, wouldn't it be a wasted effort? Not only would they have to bring evil King Violet Spirit out of the pill cavern, they would also have to be under his control. Furball, come back. Ningyu took a deep breath and berated. It's not that you can't devour the specks of light, but you have to wait for me to inspect them before you can devour them. Woof woof. Hearing Ningyu's words, Furball looked up to the sky and barked twice, expressing his dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction was dissatisfaction, but Furball had no intention of disobeying Ningyu. He obediently returned to Ningyu's side and lay down, his eyes staring straight at the specks of light, afraid that they would be completely devoured by Ningyu. Since Furball had become obedient, the Dark Emperor naturally had no choice but to stay where he was. Whoosh! The Dark Emperor and Furball both stopped. Ningyu stomped his feet on the ground, arriving beside the dozen or so specks of light in the blink of an eye. He released his perception and carefully inspected them. Just a martial artist at the middle stage of the yin-yang realm. I don't believe you can discover anything. While Ningyu was inspecting the specks of light in the void, evil King Violet Spirit said darkly, "This body of yours is not bad. Once I successfully leave the pill cavern, I will possess you and enjoy your body." If Ningyu was beside him, he would definitely be very surprised, because evil King Violet Spirit was not a young woman, nor was he a beautiful woman, but a tall and sturdy man. The reason why evil King Violet Spirit had disguised himself as a woman was largely to confuse Ningyu and make Ningyu lower his guard. After staying in the pill cavern for so long, evil King Violet Spirit's intelligence had basically reached the peak, and he was abnormally cunning. There's something fishy going on. Evil King Violet Spirit was still mocking Ningyu, but Ningyu had already discovered something unusual. I have to say, evil King Violet Spirit is very smart. Seeing a wisp of purple gas hidden in the specks of light, Ningyu's lips curled up slightly, and he thought to himself, since you want to control me so much, I'll beat you at your own game and see what tricks you're playing. Ningyu's expression was devoid of joy or sorrow as he controlled the storage ring to erupt with a suction force, sucking all the dozen or so specks of light in the air into the storage ring. Sun Jingwen, activate the array formation and expel that wisp of purple gas from the specks of light. Ningyu knew his own capabilities. Although he had discovered evil King Violet Spirit's tricks, there was no way to expel the purple gas as soon as possible. Once it dragged on for too long, it would most likely attract evil King Violet Spirit's attention. With Sun Jiangwen's help, everything would be easily resolved. Buzz buzz. Sun Jiangwen's movements were very fast, especially after he had the 2 million royal grade essence crystals provided by Ningyu. Things that required several hours in the past could be done in a few minutes now. Swish, swish, swish. 5 minutes later, several huge specks of light rushed out from the storage ring. These specks of light were divided into 4 portions. 2 portions were kept by Ningyu, and the other 2 portions were devoured by the Dark Emperor and Furball. Of the 2 portions of specks that Ningyu left behind, one was a white speck of light, and the other was a golden speck of light. Inside the white speck of light was pure essence chi, and inside the golden speck of light was pure soul force. Devour. Chapter 746. Eruption Boom. As soon as Ningyu swallowed the white speck of light, he felt as if the speck of light exploded in his mouth. Violent yuan chi spread in all directions. Spirit transformation art. Ningyu wouldn't miss this rare opportunity. He immediately used the spirit transformation art and started to absorb the violent yuan chi in his mouth. Following the guidance of the spirit transformation art, the yuan chi in the speck of light entered Ningyu's sea of consciousness. Ningyu wasn't in a hurry. He had just advanced to the middle stage of yin-yang realm. If he rushed to the late stage of yin-yang realm immediately, it wouldn't be good for his future cultivation. Therefore, Ningyu decided to take it slow. Since there were still 2 days, there was no point in rushing. Bang! Ningyu wasn't in a hurry, but the Dark Emperor was impatient. With so many white specks of light and so much pure yuan chi, the Dark Emperor definitely didn't want to miss it. After devouring all this pure yuan chi, I can easily advance to the late stage of yin-yang realm. The Dark Emperor chuckled. He didn't care about the consequences and directly swallowed the light spots that Ningyu gave him. Fortunately, the Dark Emperor was a purple gold sky, swallowing dog. Otherwise, his stomach would definitely explode from swallowing so much yuan chi at once. The Dark Emperor didn't need to refine the yuan chi himself like Ningyu. After swallowing all the yuan chi, he sat on the ground and entered a dormant state. Furball was also a purple gold sky, swallowing dog, so his bloodline power was much denser than the Dark Emperor's. The most important thing was that Furball had awakened his bloodline power and awakened 20% of it. The sky-swallowing dog race had a special characteristic. The speed at which they devoured and refined yuan chi would become faster and faster with the awakening of their bloodline power. If they awakened 100% of their bloodline power, they could easily devour and refine all these specks of light. Even so, Furball's speed was many times faster than the Dark Emperor's. Half a day later, bang! A muffled sound came from Furball's little head. Woof woof! After the muffled sound, Furball revealed a look of surprise. This was because at this moment, Furball had broken through the shackles of the middle stage of yin-yang stage, advancing to the late stage of yin-yang stage. F***CK. I need to speed up. Although the Dark Emperor was in a dormant state, he had split out a wisp of his perception to keep an eye on Furball's movements. When the Dark Emperor saw that Furball had advanced to yin-yang late stage, the Dark Emperor quickly retracted his senses and focused on breaking through. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. Whoosh! All of a sudden, the Dark Emperor's eyes sprang open as an aura comparable to Furball's rose. Yin-yang late stage. After 2 days of devouring and refining, the Dark Emperor successfully advanced to the yin-yang late stage. On the other hand, Ningyu was still in the intermediate yin-yang realm. His aura was stable, showing no signs of breaking through. Why is there no reaction from Ningyu? Has he encountered a bottleneck? Looking at Ningyu's appearance, the Dark Emperor asked doubtfully. Woof woof. Furball nodded, seemingly agreeing with the Dark Emperor's words. Whoosh! Right at this moment, a red flying sword flew out from Ningyu's body. Redskin, you came at the right time. You should know about Ningyu's situation. Tell us what's going on. Looking at the red flying sword in midair, the Dark Emperor said hurriedly. Ningyu did not encounter a bottleneck. Everything is normal. The Red Fiend did not transform into his human form and was still within the Red Fiend sword. That's impossible. Furball and I have both advanced to Yin-Yang late stage. Although Ningyu is much weaker than us, there should be some movement, the Dark Emperor said doubtfully. Furthermore, the 2-day agreement is coming soon. That purple spirit. Before the Dark Emperor could finish his sentence, his mouth opened slightly as he stared at Ningyu, who was not far away. Whoosh! Ningyu slammed his hands on the ground and leaped up. Boom! 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 In midair, an extremely terrifying aura burst out from Ningyu's body. Pissed. Sensing the terrifying aura emanating from Ningyu, the Dark Emperor's face was filled with fear even though he had advanced to Yin-Yang late stage. This is Yin-Yang late stage or Yin-Yang peak stage. Or should I say, half-step manifestation realm. The reason why the Dark Emperor could not determine Ningyu's true cultivation level was because the aura that Ningyu was emitting was simply too terrifying. It was so terrifying that he did not dare to get close. Judging from the aura alone, Ningyu was at Yin-Yang late stage. However, judging from the aura, Ningyu is a genuine Yin-Yang peak stage and could even be compared to a half-step manifestation realm martial artist. Gulp. Not only was the Dark Emperor surprised, but the Red Fiend in the Red Fiend sword also swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Ningyu's state was indeed very bewildering. Unless one was a few levels stronger than Ningyu, they would not be able to discover Ningyu's true cultivation level. Swoosh! The aura that emanated from Ningyu's body only lasted for a second. After that, Ningyu retracted the aura back into his body. Late stage, Yin-Yang peak stage, soul power of pinnacle grade 6. Feeling the violent fluctuation of primordial chi in his sea of consciousness and the strength of the soul power in his body, Ningyu nodded in satisfaction. 2 days wasn't long, but it wasn't short either. After 2 days of dormancy, Ningyu finally made a breakthrough at the last moment. Not only did his soul power advance to pinnacle grade 6, but his cultivation had also advanced to late stage Yin-Yang peak stage. He was only a small step away from pinnacle Yin-Yang peak stage. In just 3 days, Ningyu made consecutive breakthroughs from early stage Yin-Yang peak stage to late stage Yin-Yang peak stage. Furthermore, his soul power had advanced from early stage grade 6 to pinnacle grade 6. If outsiders were to know about this advancement speed, they would probably be dumbfounded. One must know that even Mu Tian, the first-rate genius of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, could not achieve this. Buzz! With Ningyu's advancement success, evil monarch Violet Spirit naturally appeared from the void. Looking at evil monarch Violet Spirit in front of him, Ningyu said indifferently, "This body of yours is not attractive to me. It's better to be yourself. I'll let you show off for a while. Once we leave the pill cave, I'll let you know what cruelty is." Evil monarch Violet Spirit snorted in his heart, but on the surface, he said, "Not simple indeed. It seems that your current strength is enough to bring me out of the pill cave." As she spoke, evil monarch Violet Spirit transformed from a young girl into a burly man. Evil monarch Violet Spirit, I would like to ask, how many creation realm pill puppets are there in the pill cave? Ningyu did not leave the pill cave immediately. Currently, the creation realm pill puppets in the pill cave no longer exist, but after a period of time, creation realm pill puppets will be born again, evil monarch Violet Spirit said. What do you mean? Ningyu asked doubtfully. Since I'm going to leave the pill cave, there's no harm in telling you. Chapter 747. Here it comes. I'm not afraid to tell you that the reason I was able to advance to the peak of the manifestation realm is because I devoured all the light spots that were ejected from the void last time. I didn't even touch the slightest bit of the other pill puppets. Evil King Violet Spirit said proudly. If that's the case, if you devour all the light spots that are ejected next time, won't you be able to advance to the supremacy realm? Ningyu said in surprise. The supremacy realm? Hee, you're thinking too simply. Evil King Violet's spirit smiled faintly and said, although the void will eject light spots every once in a while, at the same time, there might be even more powerful pill puppets appearing in the void. Cut the crap and quickly bring me out of the pill cavern. Otherwise, I'll devour your flower bud. After saying these words, Evil King Violet's spirit seemed a little impatient. He split his perception to control the flower bud and said in a deep voice, don't think of playing any tricks. As long as you dare to have any crooked thoughts, I'll immediately destroy the flower bud. How could I dare to play tricks? The flower bud is in your hands. I'll naturally be well-behaved for fear of harming the innocent. Ningyu said, that's right. I should make you hold back for fear of harming the innocent. Evil King Violet's spirit pondered for a moment before exploding out. Evil King Violet's spirit's speed was very fast. In almost the blink of an eye, he arrived beside the Dark Emperor and Furball. Woof woof, you're courting death. Seeing Evil King Violet's spirit appear beside them, the Dark Emperor and Furball both shouted. Noisy. In Evil King Violet's spirit's heart, the Dark Emperor and Furball were just small fries who couldn't do much. But it was precisely these small fries who couldn't do much that were Ningyu's friends. Evil King Violet's spirit shouted in a low voice. A monstrous pressure was unleashed from his body and pressed down on the Dark Emperor and Furball. The Dark Emperor and Furball were only at the yin-yang late stage. Being suppressed by the aura of the manifestation realm, they only struggled for 3 seconds before becoming well-behaved. Stay with the flower bud for now. Once I leave the pill cave, I'll let you go immediately. Evil King Violet's spirit placed the Dark Emperor, Furball, and the flower bud together before turning to look at Ningyu. I'm Dan Shi, so it's not very realistic for me to leave through the pill cavern's exit. I can only settle for the next best thing, tearing open the void and leaving. Tearing the void? I don't have that ability. Ningyu wanted to see what Evil King Violet's spirit had up his sleeves. Without batting an eyelid, he said, as long as you can tear the void, I have no objections. Haha, you will definitely leave the task of tearing the void to me. You just need to let me enter your body the moment I leave. Evil King Violet's spirit laughed. You are a human. I can hide a lot of things from you by hiding in your body. The fox's tail has been exposed. No wonder he wanted to do something in the light spot. It turns out that he wanted to enter my body. If I'm not wrong, he definitely wants to take over my body. At this moment, Ningyu thought of a possibility. Generally, as long as a martial artist with a high cultivation base could erase the soul force and spiritual intelligence of a martial artist with a low cultivation base, there is a certain possibility of succeeding in taking over the body. There's no time to lose. You try to tear the void first. I'll rest and try to succeed in one go. Ningyu definitely wouldn't expose Evil King Violet's spirit. He needed to use this period of time to plan properly and prevent himself from failing miserably. All right, seeing that Ningyu didn't have much of a reaction, Evil King Violet's spirit let out a low roar. Immediately after, violent yuan qi fluctuations appeared on his wrist, constantly bombarding the void. Qi, qi, qi. Following Evil King Violet's spirit's bombardment, the originally quiet void suddenly became lively. Although Evil King Violet's spirit was a peak creation realm Dan Shi, it would be extremely difficult for him to destroy the pill cavern and the void outside without an hour or two. While Evil King Violet's spirit bombarded the void, Ningyu split his perception to pay attention to the situation around him while secretly circulating the spiritual art and began to devour and refine the royal grade origin crystal. Shwa, shwa, shwa. In the evening, in a certain void in the capital, suddenly, several figures tore the void and appeared. Sect Master, do we start killing here or go to Danwu College first? Among these martial artists, an early-stage creation realm martial artist asked. Let's go to Danwu College first, the black-robed martial artist called Sect Master said in a deep voice. The black-robed martial artist was the sect master of the corpse sect. At this time, The black-robed martial artist was very angry, extremely angry. 2 days and 2 nights passed. He didn't even receive any news from Corpse Maniac, let alone good news. The black-robed martial artist and Corpse Maniac had said that regardless of whether they could take down Danwu College or not, they had to send back news at any time. Since Corpse Maniac didn't send back any news, it meant that he was most likely in danger. All right, let's start with Danwu College first. The early-stage creation realm martial artist said in a clear voice. Bang! As soon as the early-stage creation realm martial artist said the word kill, the black-robed martial artist kicked his butt and said angrily, kill a few times. When we reach Danwu College, you all have to listen to my orders. The black-robed martial artist was very careful. This time, he had brought the top martial artists of the Corpse sect. If they were ambushed, the consequences would be unimaginable. Even a middle-stage creation realm Corpse Maniac could be killed. It was conceivable that the 30 peak experts he brought would not have much of an advantage. Let's go. In the next moment, the black-robed martial artist gave a low grunt and took the lead to dash towards the Danwu Academy. Behind the black-robed martial artist, 30 peak experts followed closely. Wait! When he was less than a kilometer away from Danwu College, the black-robed martial artist abruptly stopped in midair. Did I judge wrongly? The black-robed martial artist divided a bit of his perception and carefully probed the surroundings. After a while, the black-robed martial artist withdrew his perception and murmured, "Is there something wrong with my perception?" In fact, it was no wonder that the black-robed martial artist was so careful. He did feel a terrifying aura just now. However, this aura disappeared in a flash, making it difficult for him to grasp it. In addition to the main entrance of Danwu College, there are 4 other entrances. Leave 2 peak Yin-Yang realm martial artists with me. The other 28 martial artists will kill their way into Danwu College from the other 4 entrances. The black-robed martial artist pondered for a moment and said coldly, "No matter who you meet, kill without mercy." Crash! After the black-robed martial artist gave the order, the experts of the Corpse sect behind him dispersed and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Let's go. Seeing that everyone had disappeared, the black-robed martial artist moved toward the main entrance of Danwu College. Elder Hu, do you know who these martial artists are? Are they the helpers Ningyu found? What the black-robed martial artist didn't know was that when he was walking toward the main entrance of Danwu College, Mu Tian said in a deep voice in an area in the void. From the aura emitted by these martial artists, it can be determined that they are from the Corpse sect. Hu Jin shook his head and said lightly, "I have investigated the distribution of forces in the Great Xia Kingdom. The Corpse sect has been coveting Danwu College and the Great Xia Kingdom's royal family for a long time. So, they're not the helpers Ningyu found." Chapter 748. The Prelude to the Storm. Chapter 748. Boom. In the evening, the originally quiet capital of the Xia Kingdom was instantly set ablaze with a deafening explosion. Whoosh! Many martial artists left their homes and came to the streets of the capital. If I'm not wrong, the sound should have come from Danwu College, an early Primal Core martial artist murmured as he stared in the direction of the explosion. You indeed guessed correctly. The explosion came from the Danwu Academy, a middle-stage Primal Core martial artist said beside this early-stage Primal Core martial artist. Could it be that someone dares to make a move against Danwu College? On the other side, a peak Primal Core martial artist thought of a possibility. His eyes widened as he said in a low voice, "Whoosh!" The peak Primal Core martial artist's voice had just landed, and it caused a huge uproar in the surroundings. The Danwu Academy was a colossus. In the Great Xia Kingdom, apart from the imperial family going all out, the other factions were unable to shake it even a little bit. At this time, which force had the guts to make a move against Danwu College? No. In the Xia Kingdom, other than the royal family, there's another force that can compete with Danwu College. They even have the chance to eliminate Danwu College. Suddenly, the peak Primal Core martial artist who had just spoken shouted, "This The words of the pinnacle of the primal core stage immediately caused the surrounding onlookers to suck in a cold breath. No one was stupid. They naturally knew which force the peak primal core martial artist was talking about. The corpse sect. In the Xia kingdom, if Danwu College and the royal family were the super forces, then the corpse sect was the super force. Even if Danwu College and Danwu College joined forces, they might not be able to compete with the corpse sect. Smack! Just as the crowd was feeling afraid, in the conference hall of Danwu College, Mu Feng slammed his palm on the seat beneath him. Mu Feng was furious. Recently, Danwu College had been on a bad streak. All kinds of things happened one after another. First, when they went to the Coiling Dragon Ridge, they were chased by the two heavenly kings of the Een Corpse sect. Fortunately, Ningyu appeared to help. Otherwise, they would have most likely died. After returning to Danwu College, he met the second heavenly king of the Corpse Een sect, Corpse Maniac. After dealing with the zombie, Chong Kun brought two peak experts from the Blood God Palace to Rebel. After settling a series of matters, he met Mu Tian, the Freak. Most importantly, there was a martial artist at the peak of the creation realm behind Mu Tian. Fortunately, these matters were resolved one by one without paying too much of a price. Now, someone had launched an attack on Danwu College. Unlucky year. To the Danwu Academy, it was truly an unlucky year. Forefather Jiao, tell us about the current situation. Although he was angry, Mu Feng was not an impulsive fledgling. Ningyu was in closed-door cultivation in the Pill Cave, so he could only shoulder the safety of Danwu College by himself. The burden on his shoulders was very heavy, and the slightest bit of carelessness could cause Danwu College to fall into an irrecoverable situation. Therefore, Mu Feng forced himself to calm down to the point that it was scary. There are a total of 5 entrances to Danwu College. Apart from the main entrance, the other 4 entrances are all being attacked by mysterious people. Forefather Jiao took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, according to reliable sources, the mysterious people are from the Corpse Een sect. Swish! Hearing Forefather Jiao's words, the elders and mentors in the hall all revealed a look of horror. Attacking from 4 entrances at the same time, it seemed that the Corpse Een sect's forces were very big this time. Everyone, don't relax. I have already activated the arrays at the 4 entrances. It will be difficult for the Corpse Een sect to attack Danwu College for at least an hour. Seeing that everyone's morale had dropped, Forefather Jiao said in a clear voice, what we need to do is to use this hour to adjust to our best state as soon as possible. I have checked that the Corpse Een sect has sent a total of about 30 cultivators. As long as everyone works together, we will definitely be able to catch them all. Mu Feng knew that Forefather Jiao's words could only temporarily appease everyone. Once the Corpse Een sect attacked Danwu College, everyone would be finished. Their top priority now was to contact the other forces in the capital as soon as possible. From the looks of it, the Corpse Een sect's high-ranking combat power had come out in full force. Just relying on Danwu College was far from enough to deal with the high-ranking combat power of the Corpse Een sect. Only by allying with the other first-rate forces would they have a chance of survival. Thinking up to here, Mu Feng's eyes slowly swept across the hall and finally fell on Ouyang Lun was the imperial family's ancestor. As long as the imperial family was willing to help, Danwu College would be able to hold on for a while. There is no need to say anything else. This matter is not just a matter of Danwu College. It is a matter of the entire Great Xia country. Without waiting for Mu Feng to speak, Ouyang Lun solemnly said, there is indeed a mysterious team in the imperial family, but that mysterious team only listens to my orders. They will not listen to anyone else. Therefore, I need to leave Danwu College and return to the imperial rumble. Before Ouyang Lun's voice fell, another heaven-shaking rumble sounded. Not good. Old ancestor Jiao, bring everyone to guard the other 4 entrances. I'll go to the main entrance to have a look. Hearing the rumble, Mu Feng's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly ordered before tearing the void apart and flying toward the main entrance of Danwu College. Damn it! Mufang's departure gave Ouyang Luan hope to leave Danwu College. However, just as he was about to tear the void apart, a familiar voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Ouyang Luan cursed inwardly as he changed his direction and flew toward the direction that was designated in his mind. The departure of Mu Feng and Ouyang Luan caused the elders and instructors in the hall to look at each other. They did not know what to do. Seeing everyone in a daze, old ancestor Jiu Mo scolded. "What are you all standing there for? Everyone, split into 4 groups and guard the other 4 entrances no matter what." Hearing old ancestor Jiu Mo's scolding, everyone did not dare to be negligent. They orderly split into 4 groups and flew toward the 4 entrances. As for old ancestor Jiu Mo, he chose to go to the main entrance of Danwu College. Old ancestor Jiu Mo was a half-step manifestation stage martial artist. His perception was very strong. At the main entrance of Danwu College, he could sense an extremely powerful aura. This aura had even reached the mastery stage of the manifestation stage. Mu Feng's cultivation base was only at the early stage of the manifestation stage. If he were to fight against a mastery stage martial artist, he would definitely die. Old ancestor Jiu Mo muttered to himself as he flew. "I hope the old ancestors from the other first-rate forces in the capital will realize the severity of the problem." Although Danwu College had another powerhouse at the peak of the intermediate stage of the manifestation stage other than Mu Feng. Even a martial artist at the peak of the intermediate stage of the manifestation stage would not have a good ending if he were to fight against a mastery stage martial artist from the corpse sect. Moreover, the corpse sect was an expert in playing with corpses. Corpse Execution curled his lips and stared at Mu Feng. "Unfortunately, you might not be so lucky with the next move." Xiao. In order to kill Mu Feng as soon as possible, the corpse mantra did not hold back in the slightest and used all of his strength. Not to mention Mu Feng, who was in the initial stage of the manifestation realm. Even a middle stage manifestation realm martial artist would not dare to say that he would be able to withstand the full blow of a late stage manifestation realm martial artist. Chi. Things were always wonderful. Corpse Mantra's murderous punch was still unable to kill Mu Feng. This was because Corpse Mantra's punch did not hit Mu Feng, but the old man who had appeared from the void. A slap in the face. A naked slap in the face. Corpse Mantra had just said that Mu Feng would not be so lucky. Who would have thought that Mu Feng's luck was still so good? Old fart, you're already so old, yet you still came out to meddle in this matter. I think you're tired of living. With Corpse Mantra's personality, he would definitely retaliate after being slapped in the face. Furthermore, the old man's cultivation was not very high, only at the middle stage of the manifestation realm. Corpse Mantra knew the power of his punch just now. Up until now, there had not been a single middle stage manifestation realm martial artist who could withstand it 100%. The old man in front of him looked fine on the surface, but Corpse Mantra could determine that the old man had definitely suffered heavy injuries. "Since you're seeking death, I'll fulfill your wish." After a low shout, Corpse Mantra's figure gradually became illusory. "Mu Feng, leave with old ancestor Mo. I'll temporarily take care of this." "Damn it." Seeing that Corpse Mantra had disappeared, the old man said in a deep voice. However, before the old man could finish his sentence, his pupils slightly shrank and a trace of fear appeared on his face. Without any warning, Corpse Mantra had already appeared beside the old man. This time, Corpse Mantra's eyes emitted a frightening light. The purple flame on his fist danced, and his punch brought along gusts of wind as it landed on the old man's chest. Puff! The huge force that came from his chest caused the old man to spit out a mouthful of blood, and his aura rapidly declined. In just a few seconds, the old man's aura had already fallen from the middle stage of the manifestation realm to the peak of the yin-yang realm, and it was still falling. Crack, crack. Looking at the old man's miserable state, Mu Feng's fists made cracking sounds as his heart sank to the bottom. The old man's cultivation was at the peak of the middle stage of the manifestation realm, and he was the strongest person in Donwu College. Even the old man was not Corpse Mantra's opponent. From this, it could be seen that the others were even more helpless against Corpse Mantra, as long as Senior doesn't leave. At this moment, Mu Feng thought of the Senior who was at the peak of the manifestation realm. If he did not use the third chance, he naturally would not be afraid of Corpse Mantra. However, Mu Feng neglected one point. If he did not use the third chance, Hu Jin might even flatten Donwu College. There were two sides to everything. There were pros and cons, and it could not be forced. Mu Feng, this is the second time in a row. Let's see who can save you the third time. Corpse Mantra kicked the old man away and slowly walked toward Mu Feng. Corpse Mantra's speed was very slow. A short distance of 12 meters took him a few minutes to walk. After a few minutes, Corpse Mantra's lips curled up and he laughed sinisterly. Mu Feng, if someone comes to save you this time, I will twist my head off and let you use it as a chamber pot. Bang! In order to prevent any accidents from happening, Corpse Mantra waved his sleeves, and in an instant, a cold light swept out and attacked Mu Feng. A crisp sound rang out in the area. Mu Feng's ending was very miserable. Even though Mu Feng wasn't killed, he wasn't far from death in his current state. If Corpse Mantra did not want to force Mu Feng to tell him the location of the pill cave and how to open it, Mu Feng would have already been killed. After seriously injuring Mu Feng, Corpse Mantra stood in place, closed his eyes, and released his perception. After a while, Mu Feng retracted his perception, and his face was a little ugly. What a waste. After so long, you can't even break a small array. I spent so much money to train you. Corpse Mantra's face was extremely cold when he felt that the other people of the Corpse sect were still busy breaking the array. You two look after Mu Feng and the others. I will be back soon. Corpse Mantra let out a low roar, then tore through the void and flew toward the entrance of Donwu College that was closest to him. When the two Corpse sect martial artists heard Corpse Mantra's words, they looked at each other and obediently stayed in place. Although they were experts of the Corpse sect, their cultivation was only at the peak of the yin-yang realm. If a manifestation realm martial artist appeared at this time, wouldn't they die? Chapter 750. Impact. Rumor has it that Donwu College once had a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm. What's going on now? The two Corpse sect martial artists didn't know that Corpse Execution didn't leave immediately, but hid in the void. Moreover, Corpse Execution also left something unique to the Corpse sect in their bodies. Once that thing was detonated, even a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm would be seriously injured. Wait a little longer. Corpse Execution was very patient. He was determined to wait for a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm to appear. Moreover, Corpse Execution didn't believe that there was only one martial artist at the intermediate stage of the manifestation realm in Donwu College. He hid in the void. Even if he couldn't wait for a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm, it would be worth it to wait for a few hidden martial artists at the intermediate stage of the manifestation realm. Corpse Execution's idea was very simple. Since he had come to Donwu College, he had to catch them all in one fell swoop. He couldn't let any martial artist at the manifestation realm escape. After all, the lethality of a martial artist at the manifestation realm was extremely terrifying. A martial artist at the manifestation realm who wanted to hide would be difficult to find even with the strength of the Corpse sect. While Corpse Execution was hiding in the void, waiting, in the depths of the pill cave. Get ready, I'm going to break open the void. After more than an hour of preparation, Evil King Violet's spirit adjusted his mental state to its peak. The most important thing was that there was violent energy pulsating in Evil King Violet's spirit's hands. The pulsating energy in Evil King Violet's spirit's left hand was pure Yuan Qi, while the pulsating energy in his right hand was pure soul power. Evil King Violet's spirit was a pill puppet. He had swallowed a lot of white and golden light spots. Now that he wanted to break open the void, he naturally needed to use pure Yuan Qi and pure soul power. Don't worry, I'm well prepared, Ningyu said in a deep voice. Go. Evil King Violet's spirit took one last look at Ningyu, and an undetectable smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Then, Evil King Violet's spirit shouted and suddenly pushed out his hands. Xiao! Xiao! As Evil King Violet's spirit pushed out his hands, two terrifying waves suddenly shot out from the left and right. Chi-Chi! These two terrifying waves suddenly joined together in the air and blasted toward a point in the void. In an instant, the space in this area suddenly shook. The shaking didn't last for too long. A minute later, the space returned to its previous calm. Kacha! Then a crisp cracking sound rang out in the area. Kacha! Kacha! Following that, a series of cracking sounds could be heard. The space is about to break. In 5 seconds, I will enter your body and lie dormant. Suddenly, Evil King Violet Spirit's voice sounded in Ningyu's mind. Hearing this voice, Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. However, his expression did not change as he said, "Don't worry. When the time comes, I will open my mind and allow you to enter my sea of consciousness." Drip, drip. Time passed second by second. With every passing second, the cracking sounds in the air grew louder. Rumble. When the 5th second arrived, the cracking sound turned into a rumbling sound, and a waist-thick crack appeared in the void. Relax your mind. In a flash, Evil King Violet's spirit shouted in a low voice. Ningyu's figure flashed. As he rushed toward the crack, he relaxed his mind. Swoosh! The crack in the void only appeared for a second. A second later, the crack returned to its original state. But it was in this second that Ningyu firmly grasped it and entered the crack. As for Evil King Violet's spirit, he entered Ningyu's sea of consciousness and lay dormant. He restrained his aura, not daring to release it in the slightest. Even so, the moment Ningyu entered the crack, Evil King Violet's spirit still felt the terror of death. Fortunately, the terror of death didn't last for too long. That feeling of terror quickly disappeared. Buzz. At the same time, in the sky above Danwu College, the space suddenly split open, and a figure suddenly shot out from the void. Look, who is that? The person who appeared from a void above Danwu College is most likely someone from Danwu College. I also know that it's someone from Danwu College. Let me ask you now, who is he? How the hell would I know who he is? If you want to know, why don't you ask yourself? On the streets of the capital, everyone was curious about the identity of the martial artist who tore open the void. However, at this critical moment, no one dared to go near Danwu College. They could only discuss it from afar. If they went near Danwu College now, only death awaited them. Ningyu. The people outside the capital did not know who the martial artist who appeared from the void was, but the people from Danwu College did not forget Ningyu, especially the elders and mentors of Danwu College. When they saw Ningyu, it was as if they had seen their savior, and they all breathed a sigh of relief. Ningyu has come out of seclusion. We can be saved this time. Yes, Ningyu is very strong. No wonder he is the first holy son of Danwu College. What first holy son? Ningyu is the acting dean. Do you know the acting dean? A person who had seen Ningyu's strength said in a deep voice, "Everyone, hold on. With the acting dean here, the people from Corpsine sect will not be able to cause too much trouble." Anyone who had seen Ningyu in battle admired Ningyu very much. Ningyu could easily defeat Mu Tian and blackmail Hu Jian, who was at the peak of Fate State. This was enough to show Ningyu's strength. Moreover, the aura that Ningyu exuded now seemed to be stronger than 2 days ago. 2 days ago, Ningyu's cultivation was at the middle stage of yin-yang state. Now, he had probably reached the late stage of yin-yang state, or even the peak stage of yin-yang state. With such a speed of advancement, it was no wonder that some people admired Ningyu very much. Something doesn't seem right. With so many people seeing Ningyu, Mu Feng naturally also saw it clearly. However, from Ningyu's expression, Mu Feng seemed to see a kind of pain. Although Ningyu deliberately hid the feeling of pain, it was still discovered by Mu Feng's keen perception. A warrior at the late stage of Fate State? In the air, Ningyu had his hands behind his back. His eyes slightly narrowed as he stared at the void above the main entrance of Danwu College and murmured, "This is troublesome. Poochie." Before Ning Yu's words fell, he spat out a big mouthful of blood, and his body fell straight down. Crash! Apart from the people from the Danwu Academy, even the corpse executioners were dumbfounded by the sudden change. Originally, when Ning Yu appeared, Corpse Ju thought that he was a tough nut to crack. This was because Corpse Ju felt a trace of the aura of the Peak of Fate state from Ning Yu. However, the sudden change completely subverted Corpse Ju's understanding. He must have swallowed something with the aura of the Fate state, causing chi deviation. Corpse Ju frowned and made a decision instantly. He would go to Ning Yu's place. Corpse Ju wanted to see what this martial artist was capable of. After all, the moment Ning Yu appeared, Corpse Ju could clearly feel that the suppressed anger in Danwu College had lessened a lot. A warrior at the late stage of yin-yang state could cause such an impact. It was enough to show the status of this warrior at the late stage of yin-yang state in Danwu College. Chapter 751, Purple Light Spot. Chapter 751, Purple Light Spot. Since he had made his decision, Corpse Ju directly shot out from the void and flew in the direction of Ning Yu at an astonishing speed. "Not good, it's Corpse Ju." Seeing Corpse Ju appear from the void, Mu Feng's expression changed greatly, and he hurriedly shouted, "Ning Yu, little Poochie." Before Mu Feng could finish his warning, the corpse sect martial artist next to him kicked his chest. The huge force caused him to spit out a large mouthful of blood, and his already weak aura became even weaker. Old Dean, Mu Feng's miserable state made Old Ancestor Jiao Mo very angry. Old Ancestor Jiao Mo struggled to stand up, but he was heavily stepped on by another corpse sect martial artist, making him unable to move. "Humph! I advise you to be obedient and wait for the sect master to return. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what will happen." The corpse sect martial artist kicked Mu Feng again and said sinisterly, "Hiss." This kick caused Mu Feng to suck in a breath of cold air and faint on the spot. Swoosh! On the other side, Corpse Ju's speed was very fast. Almost in an instant, Corpse Ju arrived at the area where Ning Yu had landed. However, in this slightly empty area, Corpse Ju didn't see Ning Yu. Not to mention Ning Yu, there wasn't even a shadow of a living person. Corpse Ju obviously didn't expect this situation. He stood on the spot and quietly released his perception. This doesn't make sense. He shouldn't have disappeared for no reason. Corpse Ju frowned, but he didn't give up. He continued to increase his perception and carefully probed the surrounding area. Corpse Ju made up his mind to find Ning Yu no matter what. Even if he had to pay a great price, he wouldn't hesitate. This was because Ning Yu's status in Danwu College was even higher than Mu Feng's. Such a person must know some secrets of Danwu College. Gotcha! What Corpse Ju didn't know was that when he released his perception, a devouring and anti-devouring battle was taking place in the void in front of him. The strength of the two devouring parties did not seem to be equal. One was at the peak of the creation realm, while the other was at the late stage of the yin-yang realm. However, the late-stage yin-yang martial artist had the help of two dogs. The martial artist at the peak of the creation realm was Evil King Purple Spirit. Ning Yu was the martial artist at the late stage of yin-yang realm. "Brat, I advise you to give up the fight over your sea of consciousness. Otherwise, I will detonate your sea of consciousness and make you suffer the consequences." Evil King Violet Spirit changed into a white speck of light for a while, and then into a golden speck of light for a while as he shouted in a low voice. "Evil King Violet Spirit, I should be the one to say that to you." Ning Yu was not frightened by Evil King Violet Spirit. Back in the Pill Cave, Ning Yu already knew that the Evil King Violet Spirit would devour the golden core in his sea of consciousness. At that time, Ning Yu had arranged everything properly. In order to completely control Evil King Violet Spirit, Ning Yu first contacted Ouyang Luan and asked him to be his helper. Then, Ning Yu pretended to fall into the trap, causing Evil King Violet Spirit to be careless. I gave you a chance, but you don't know how to cherish it. Since it's like this, I'll fulfill your wish." Evil King Violet Spirit's eyes flickered incessantly. As he flicked his sleeves, a stream of purple gas appeared in his hand. "Diabolic Violet Spirit, don't waste your energy. I know that you have done something to the speck of light. Unfortunately, the purple-colored chi that you left in the speck of light has all been refined by me." Looking at the purple-colored chi in the palm of the Diabolic Violet Spirit, Ningyu said indifferently, "Oh, right, there's still a small bottle of purple gas that I left behind. I haven't completely refined it." In order to convince Evil King Violet Spirit, Ningyu took out a small jade bottle from his bosom and said indifferently, "Pucci." Seeing the jade bottle in Ningyu's hand, Evil King Violet Spirit's eyes widened, his face filled with incredulity. No matter how Evil King Violet Spirit calculated, he did not calculate that Ningyu could refine the purple gas in the light speck. Evil King Violet Spirit's trump card was the purple gas. Without the purple gas, his strength would at least drop several times, and he might even die because of this. Evil King Violet Spirit was a pill puppet. If he wanted to survive on the mainland, he must find someone to possess. Moreover, once he left the pill cavern, his strength would drop rapidly. Right now, Evil King Violet Spirit was very anxious. His strength had already dropped from peak manifestation realm to early stage manifestation realm. After a period of time, it would definitely drop to yin-yang realm. At that time, the consequences would be unthinkable. Even if you didn't completely refine the purple gas, if I want to kill you, it's as easy as taking something out of my pocket. Evil King Violet Spirit could not delay any longer. He snorted coldly and immediately made a move, wanting to forcefully control Ningyu while his cultivation was still at early stage manifestation realm to carry out possession. As for the two black and white dogs behind Ningyu, Evil King Violet Spirit completely did not take them to heart. To him, two half-step manifestation realm dogs would not be able to cause any trouble. He could kill them in one move. Dark Emperor, Furball, let him come over. Ningyu would not let the Dark Emperor and Furball make unnecessary sacrifices. Although Evil King Violet Spirit's cultivation had dropped to early stage manifestation realm, as the saying goes, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. Evil King Violet Spirit's battle strength at early stage manifestation realm was still not weak. "Brat, at least you're sensible. Be obedient." Evil King Violet Spirit shouted loudly when he saw the Dark Emperor and Furball disperse. However, before Evil King Violet Spirit's shout had finished, it abruptly stopped, because Evil King Violet Spirit discovered that a martial artist had unknowingly appeared in front of Ningyu. To be precise, it was an early-stage manifestation realm martial artist. Ouyang Luan. Ouyang Luan strictly abided by the agreement with Ningyu. He only appeared when Evil King Violet Spirit was only 1 meter away from Ningyu. A distance of 1 meter was neither long nor short. At the very least, with Ouyang Luan's ability, such a close distance was enough for him to heavily injure Evil King Violet Spirit. Pucci. Evil King Violet Spirit guessed that Ningyu might have a trump card, but he did not expect that other than those two dogs, Ningyu still had a peak early stage manifestation realm martial artist by his side. Because 90% of Evil King Violet Spirit's attention was placed on Ningyu, it caused him to neglect Ouyang Luan, and his body was struck by Ouyang Luan's fist. In the next instant, Evil King Violet Spirit spat out a mouthful of purple blood. His eyes widened, and with a look of near despair, he turned into a purple dot of light. What is this dot of light? Staring at the huge purple dot of light in front of him, Ningyu frowned slightly and muttered, "Could it be something that combines soul force and essence chi?" Ningyu knew that within the white dot of light was pure essence chi, and within the golden dot of light was pure soul force. But this was the first time he had seen this purple dot of light. My current cultivation is late-stage yin-yang realm, and the strength of my soul force is at the peak of grade 6. Ningyu fell in a deep thought. After advancing to late-stage yin-yang realm, coupled with a red devil sword, he could kill a mid-stage manifestation realm martial artist. Of course, if he encountered a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist, he could only resist, and it would be very difficult to kill. If he took the risk and devoured the purple dot of light that evil King Violet's spirit had turned into, his strength might increase, and he could easily kill a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist. However, his strength might also plummet, and he might not even be a match for an early-stage manifestation realm martial artist. Chapter 752. A preliminary fight. Although Ning Yu was weighing the pros and cons, he did not have much time left. Outside the void, the late-stage manifestation realm corpse executioner had already noticed the area they were in and was gradually increasing his perception. Once corpse executioner detected something, and he was not prepared, the consequences would be unimaginable. Forget it. Even if I devour the purple light spots with all my might, I can't do it in one go. I need at least an hour to completely devour and refine them. After pondering for a few seconds, Ning Yu temporarily gave up on devouring the purple light spots. Crack! At this moment, a huge attack blasted the space beside Ning Yu, completely blasting open the already unstable space. The space was blasted open, and Ning Yu and the others were naturally exposed to Corpse Executioner's vision. You're here too. Corpse Executioner did not pay attention to Ning Yu immediately. Instead, his gaze fell on Ouyang Luan. Corpse Executioner raised his eyebrows and said sinisterly, Ouyang Luan, Danwu College's Mu Feng is already under my control. I advise you to surrender as soon as possible to avoid a lot of physical pain. Ouyang Luan did not react to Corpse Executioner's contempt and provocation. Ouyang Luan was not a fool. Ning Yu was the most powerful person here, so it was not his place to interrupt. Ouyang Luan did not speak, but in Corpse Executioner's eyes, it was a blatant provocation. Swoosh! Corpse Executioner also had a bad temper. Without another word, he immediately rushed out. At such a short distance, it was already too late for Ouyang Luan to dodge. He could only brace himself and face Corpse Executioner's palm. However, before Ouyang Luan could attack, Ning Yu slapped his shoulder, signaling him to retreat. Ouyang Luan did not want to show off. Ning Yu told him to leave, so he quickly retreated. Life and death palm. Looking at Corpse Executioner approaching, Ning Yu took a deep breath. A violent wave of primordial chi appeared on his palm and collided with Corpse Executioner's palm. Bang! The two palms collided and a crisp sound rang out. Soon after, the two figures rapidly retreated. One retreated a dozen steps, while the other retreated 3 steps. The one who took a dozen steps back was naturally Ning Yu, who was at the late stage of Yin Yang Realm. The one who took 3 steps back was a corpse art in the later stage of Blessed Realm. Although he had gained the upper hand in one move, Sherding was not satisfied at all. He was a martial artist in the later stage of the Creation Realm, while the young man opposite him was only in the later stage of the Yin Yang Realm. There was no comparison between the two of them. On top of that, he had used 60% of his strength in that palm strike. If this news got out that he couldn't kill a late-stage Yin Yang Realm martial artist with 60% of his strength, how was he going to establish himself in the Great Xia Kingdom? If this matter spread to the headquarters of the Corpsine sect, he would be even more ashamed. Therefore, at this moment, Corpse Execution directly sentenced Ning Yu to death. Silver Winged Dragon, Twin Horn Beast, don't stay in the Pill Cavern any longer. This is a moment of life and death for Danwu College. Only by working together to repel these invaders can you continue to enjoy the Pill Cavern. After one move, Ning Yu stood on the spot. Ning Yu first used a secret technique to notify the Silver Winged Dragon and the Twin Horn Beast in the Pill Cavern before turning to the Dark Emperor and the others. No, to be exact, to the Dark Emperor and the other dogs beside him. Dark Emperor, Furball, the two of you have already advanced to the Yin Yang realm, and your combined strength is comparable to that of an early manifestation realm martial artist. Now, Go help guard the other 4 entrances. Swish! Swish! The Dark Emperor and Fur Ball were sensible dogs. They didn't bother with Ningyu and directly tore open the void and left. As for Oyanglin, he tactfully rushed toward the other entrance. Apart from the main entrance of Danwu College, there were a total of 4 entrances. The Dark Emperor, Fur Ball, and Oyanglin. Only one entrance was left unguarded. The Silver-Winged Dragon and Twin-Horn Beast are both half-step Blessed Realm demonic beasts. It shouldn't be a problem for them to guard one entrance. However, I have to stall them first. Thinking of this, Ningyu immediately took out the Red Devil Sword and slashed down with a shocking sword wave. Solitaire. A huge sword wave separated from the Red Devil Sword and slashed toward Corpse Execution like a huge dragon. A martial artist at the late stage of Yin-Yang Realm can actually slash out such a powerful sword wave. He is indeed not simple. Looking at the huge sword wave in midair, Corpse Execution's eyes turned cold. He also took out a flying sword and slashed down with a black sword wave. Rumble. In the next moment, the 2 sword waves collided in midair. A deafening explosion spread out in all directions from the point where the sword waves collided. The aftermath of the collision attracted the attention of many martial artists. Even the people from the Corpse sect who were attacking the Danwu Academy stopped in their tracks and shifted their gazes towards the area where the sword waves collided. On the streets of the capital, some of the martial artists who were watching the show were so shocked that their mouths were wide open and their faces were full of horror. 2 late-stage Blessed Realm martial artists are fighting. A martial artist shouted, "Late-stage Blessed Realm? Are you blind?" One of them is at the late-stage Blessed Realm, and the other is only at the late stage of Yin-Yang Realm. A martial artist next to him said disdainfully, "That's right. If I'm not wrong, the late-stage Blessed Realm martial artist is the Corpse sect leader who besieged Danwu College, Corpse Execution. The late-stage Blessed Realm martial artist is from Danwu College. It's Ningyu." A Peak Yuan Dan Realm martial artist nodded. Swoosh. As soon as the Peak Yuan Dan Realm martial artist finished speaking, there was silence all around. Although everyone knew that Ningyu was very strong and had won the first place in the Sacred Institute's assessment, they had never imagined that Ningyu would be so strong. A late-stage Blessed Realm martial artist fighting against a late-stage Blessed Realm martial artist? To hell with it. There was a huge gap between the two. Since the founding of the Xia Kingdom, there had never been such a heaven-defying genius. Even the most outstanding genius in the history of the Xia Kingdom couldn't fight someone who was a whole level higher than him. Swoosh. While everyone was discussing on the street, within Danwu College, Ningyu had turned into an afterimage and disappeared. The Silver-Winged Dragon and the Twin-Horn Beast would only come out from the cavern in about a minute. Ningyu knew what he had to do at this stage. He had to delay the Corpse sect martial artists at one of the entrances and prevent them from entering Danwu College. Damn it! When Corpse Execution saw Ningyu vanishing, it was as if his little wife had been stolen. He let out a shout and tore through the void to chase after Ningyu. After advancing to the late stage of Yin-Yang Realm, Ningyu's speed was much faster. Before Corpse Execution could catch up to Ningyu, Ningyu had turned into an afterimage and arrived at the leftmost entrance of Danwu College. Corpse Execution's speed wasn't too slow either. Not long after Ningyu landed, he tore through the void and appeared. Hee, I know what you want to do. You're stalling for time. Corpse Execution felt the grand occasion of the other entrances and smiled sinisterly. Death is at hand, and you still want to stall for time. I think you want to meet the King of Hell early. Corpse Execution was a smart person. A smart person would not hesitate in doing things. Ningyu wanted to stall for time, but Corpse Execution wouldn't let him. Everyone, don't hold back. Within a minute, you must break the door. Corpse Jew's eyes glowed brightly. Chapter 753. The upper hand not good. As soon as the corpse technique disappeared, Ningyu realized something was wrong. No matter what, Corpse Executioner was still a martial artist in the later stage of the creation realm. When he attacked with all his might, the power was still very great. Silver Winged Dragon, Twin Horns Beast, you only have 30 seconds. Ningyu instructed the Silver Winged Dragon and the others before slashing out with a red fiend sword. Whoosh! Whoosh! In an instant, two huge sword waves were formed. One of the sword waves was aimed at several corpse sect cultivators outside the entrance. The lowest cultivation level of the Corpsine sect was at the half-step Fate Realm, and there were even a few early-stage Fate Realm warriors. In order to prevent them from breaking through the defensive formation at the entrance, Ningyu had no choice but to slash out a sword wave to distract them. The other sword wave slashed at the void in front of Ningyu. Ningyu's cultivation was low, but his perception was not weak at all. Although the corpse execution had disappeared from the area, Ningyu was very clear about its movement trajectory, especially when the flying sword in the hand of Corpse Martialist was about to tear the void. Ningyu controlled the second sword wave to attack the area where Corpse Martialist was located. Crack! The crisp sound of the void shattering rang out beside Corpse Mantra. Corpse Ju didn't expect Ningyu's perception to be so strong, so he quickly appeared from the void. Good, very good. You have completely angered me. The corpse that appeared from the void flew into a rage out of humiliation. Ever since Corpse Art became the sect master of the In Corpse sect's branch in the Great Xia country, he had never been in such a sorry state. It would be fine if the martial artist in front of him was at the later stage of the creation realm, but the key was that the martial artist in front of him was only at the later stage of the Yin-Yang realm. Awkward. It was extremely awkward. I've angered a lot of people. You won't make a difference, Ningyu said calmly on the surface, but in his heart, he thought, 20 seconds left. Sure, Ju taking action was exactly what Ningyu wanted. As long as he could drag it out for another 20 seconds, he would be able to fight against the corpse executioner openly. At that time, both sides would truly rely on their own abilities. Right now, Ningyu had too many concerns. He was afraid that the corpse sect would attack Danwu College. You want to buy time, but I won't let you. Corpse Ju's eyes turned, and he shouted, All corpse sect martial artists, listen to my order. All of you enter Danwu College from the main entrance and temporarily abandon the other side entrances. The array formation at the main entrance has long been broken by me. Voila! Corpse Execution's words, which contained vital energy, caused the people of Danwu College to be in an uproar. Originally, the people of Danwu College were counting on the four side entrances to block the experts of the Corpsine sect. But now, they had to change direction and enter from the main entrance. The array at the main entrance had already been destroyed by the Corpse Mantra. Extreme crisis. This moment was truly an extreme crisis for the Danwu Academy. Kaka. Hearing Corpse Execution's order, Ningyu's face became completely gloomy. Ningyu knew that there was no point in dragging it out. The best solution now was to kill Corpse Execution and force the experts of the Corpsine sect to retreat. Life and death palm. Ningyu knew the seriousness of the problem. Without the slightest hesitation, he immediately wrapped the vital energy in his sea of knowledge around his wrist and sent out a backhand palm. Hee, it's too late to fight me now. Seeing Ningyu's palm filled with violent vital energy, Corpse Execution smiled and said, I'll let you see the true strength of a late-stage creation realm martial artist. Along with Corpse Execution's words, a monstrous vital energy fluctuation appeared on his wrist. From this vital energy fluctuation alone, it was obvious that he had reached the peak of the late stage of creation realm. Although the vital energy fluctuation on Ningyu's palm wasn't weak, it was only at the peak of the late stage of Yin-Yang realm. The reason why Corpse Execution couldn't kill Ningyu last time was because he didn't use his full strength. This time, Corpse Execution didn't hold back and used 100% of his strength. Chi-Chi, the corpse art in the later stage of the Blessed Realm, did not hold back at all. Its power shook the heavens, and even the space around it sizzled. Some of the martial artists who were closer were foaming at the mouth, and their breaths were weak. In many people's hearts, the power of a late-stage creation realm martial artist's full strength was indeed terrifying. making them unable to resist. Of course, others didn't have any thoughts of resisting, but Ningyu did. Soul Force. Blue Spiritual Fire. In order to block Corpse Execution's palm, Ningyu summoned his peak 6th grade Soul Force and Blue Spiritual Fire and wrapped them around his wrist. Success or failure depends on this. Time seemed to have stopped in an instant. At this moment, in addition to the students of Danwu College, even the martial artists of the entire Xia kingdom shifted their gaze to the sky above Danwu College. To be more precise, they shifted their gaze to Ningyu and Corpse Execution's palm. Everyone wanted to see if Ningyu could create a miracle and defeat the Corpse sect leader. Everyone held their breath and concentrated, afraid that they would miss a feast. Ha! What broke the silence was a crisp sound. Puchi! Then, the sound of blood spurting out was heard. Hearing this sound, the students of Danwu College were all dumbfounded. Some sighed, some were helpless, some were disappointed, and some were desperate, because the development of the matter was just as Corpse Execution said. Ningyu had no chance of winning. It's over, it's over. Corpse sect wants to control Danwu College, the capital, and the Xia kingdom. Sigh. I originally thought that Ningyu could create a miracle, but who would have thought that even Ningyu can't do anything to Corpse Execution? Yeah, Corpse Execution is a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist. In the Xia kingdom, his cultivation is probably the highest, right? Don't think so much. Let's think about where we should go. What? Pessimism spread. However, just as the last martial artist wanted to preach his pessimistic opinion, he was stunned on the spot with his mouth wide open and a dumbfounded look on his face. Puchi! In midair, another mouthful of blood spurted out. This time, the martial artist who spurted out blood was not Ningyu, but the Corpse sect leader. Corpse Execution. Corpse Execution was a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist. How could he spurt out blood? Could it be that Ningyu could really fight him head-on? Thinking of this, the pessimistic haze that shrouded the heads of the students was instantly dispelled. Everyone looked at the thin figure in midair. This time, there was no pessimism or despair in everyone's eyes, only hope and gratitude. Old Fart, a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist, is only SOSO. In midair, Ningyu wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said gloomily, "How was it? The taste of my palm didn't feel good, right? Humph. Cough, cough." Hearing Ningyu's slightly mocking words, Corpse Execution let out a cold snort and then a burst of dry coughs. Chapter 754. The last battle. Don't think that you are very powerful just because you block my palm. You will never know how powerful a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist is. When Corpse Ju said this, the faces of all the students in Danwu College turned cold. Ningyu is the last line of defense of Danwu College. If even Ningyu is not a match for Corpse Ju, then Danwu College would definitely fall into the hands of Corpse Sect today. Originally, many students thought that Ningyu and Corpse Ju were about the same, but after hearing Corpse Ju's words, many students felt that Corpse Ju still had a trump card. I don't know how powerful a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist is. Ningyu did not mind Corpse Mantra's words at all. The corners of his lips curled up as he said with a faint smile, "I won't hide it from you. When I killed the late-stage manifestation realm martial artists, you might still be wearing diapers." Ha ha. Ningyu's words eased the anger of the originally depressed Danwu College a little. The atmosphere of Danwu College eased, but the anger of the Corpse Sect martial artists became a lot more tense. Ningyu was ridiculing their sect master in front of them. Even if the aunt could endure it, the uncle couldn't. Swish, swish, swish. Since they couldn't bear it anymore, the 20 to 30 martial artists of the Corpse Sect swarmed to the main gate of Danwu College and attacked Danwu College from the main gate, according to Corpse Ju's instructions. Buzz, buzz. However, when the 20 to 30 martial artists of the Corpse Sect arrived at the main gate, two behemoths appeared. Pa! Pa! After these two behemoths appeared, They turned the two-peak yin-yang stage martial artists of the Corpsine sect, who were guarding Mu Feng, into minced meat with one palm each. Ningyu, you deal with that old man. Leave this to us. The behemoths were the silver-winged dragon and the twin horns beast. Not long after the silver-winged dragon appeared, the Dark Emperor, Harry Ball, and the others all arrived at the main gate of Danwu College. At this moment, outside the main gate of Danwu College, the 28 peak experts of the Corpse sect gathered together. Among these martial artists, the lowest cultivation was at the half-step manifestation realm, while the highest was at the early stage manifestation realm. This kind of combat power was really terrifying. At the main gate of Danwu Academy, with the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast in the lead, Oyanglin, the Dark Emperor, Furball, and several dozen other Danwu Academy instructors were supporting them, ready for battle at any time. Corpse Art stared at Silver-Winged Dragon and the others and sneered. You want to stop the people of the Corpsine sect with just these little shrimps? Me too. Whoosh! Suddenly, the void in the distance was torn apart. Then, a woman wearing a bamboo hat appeared in front of everyone. Black Widow. This woman was none other than the Black Widow who had chased after old monster Black Nefarious. For some reason, Black Widow's cultivation had already broken through the limits and advanced to the early stage of the manifestation realm. There's still us. Not long after the Black Widow appeared, another two figures tore through the void on the other side. These two martial artists were also at the early stage of the manifestation realm. It's the Black and White Heroes. I didn't expect the Black and White Heroes to also advance to the early stage of the manifestation realm. It is said that 20 years ago, they were only at the peak of the yin-yang realm. Look, someone else has appeared. Crack! As the martial artist spoke, the space next to the Black and White Heroes was torn apart again. This time, the number of martial artists that appeared was quite large. The Patriarch of Drunken Cloud Villa, the Patriarch of the Assassination Pavilion, and the Patriarchs of other forces had all arrived. Originally, it would be difficult for them to defend Danwu Academy with the Silver-Winged Dragon, but now that so many people suddenly appeared, the pressure on them was instantly reduced. It could be said that with the addition of Black Widow and the others, at least on the surface, they would not be at a disadvantage. Even with the combat power of the Silver-Winged Dragon and the Dark Emperor, they might be able to gain the upper hand. I wonder if the little shrimps you mentioned can stop the little shrimps of the Corpsine sect? The appearance of so many martial artists made Ningyu completely relieved. Now that Ningyu no longer had any worries, he could have a real fight with Corpse Jew. Corpse Jew's face was gloomy, and he shouted coldly. I said, "You are not my opponent. No matter what, you are not my opponent." Noisy, without any worries. Ningyu naturally would not argue with Corpse Jew here. If he wanted to fight, then fight. If he didn't want to fight, then so be it. Life and Death Palm. Ningyu's first attack was the 7th style of the Netherworld Samsara Palm, Life and Death Palm. As for the Life and Death Palm, it was obvious that Ningyu's soul force and cultivation increased. In the past, when Ningyu was at the early stage of the yin-yang realm and his soul force was at the early stage of the 6th grade, he could rely on the Life and Death Palm to deal with a half-step manifestation realm martial artist. Now that Ningyu's cultivation had advanced to the late stage of the yin-yang realm, his soul force had reached the peak of the 6th grade. The power of the Life and Death Palm displayed in this state was close to that of a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist. Child's play. Corpse Jew was not frightened by Ningyu's palm print. Although the power of the Life and Death Palm was comparable to the attack of a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist, it must be known that Corpse Jew himself was a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist. Corpse Jew flicked his wrist and instantly pushed out a palm print. After pushing out the palm print, Corpse Jew laughed sinisterly. Competing with me with palm prints, you still. What? However, just as Corpse Jew's sinister laughter sounded, his expression changed greatly. Because Corpse Jew saw that after Ningyu made a palm print, he immediately made a few more palm prints. Moreover, the power of each palm print was surprisingly consistent. This time, Corpse Jew was completely dumbfounded. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense at all. It was already very good for a late-stage Enyang realm martial artist to make a palm print that was comparable to the palm print of a late-stage manifestation realm martial artist, but to make dozens of palm prints in a row, it was a bit unreasonable, right? Corpse Palm. Corpse Jew was indeed worthy of being the sect leader of the Corpse sect. After a brief daze, he quickly waved his hands and made dozens of palm prints in an instant. In midair, nearly 100 palm prints collided together. The scene was extremely chaotic. Kacha, 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 chi, chi, chi. Incessant cracking sounds and incessant sizzling sounds could be heard. Like bamboo shoots after the rain, all of them emerged. Such a grand and imposing attack not only caused everyone in the Danwu Academy to be dumbfounded, but even the martial artists on the capital streets had dumbfounded looks on their faces. Gulp! On the streets of the capital, all the martial artists swallowed a mouthful of saliva and stared at Ningyu and Corpse Jew, who were in the middle of the palm prints. Compared to the previous exchange, this was the real exchange. In fact, it was no wonder that everyone was staring at the two people in midair. Everyone knew that the outcome of this battle would be decided. Whether Ningyu would defeat Corpse Jew or Corpse Jew would defeat Ningyu. Everything was still unknown. However, everyone was praying for Ningyu to win, because everyone was very clear that once Corpse Jew won, it would be a huge disaster for the capital and the entire Xia Empire. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.